pengurusi Biro Latihan Dewan Perdagangan Islam Malaysia Cawangan Putrajaya. Yang saya muliakan speaker kita pada pagi ini Dr. Abdul Aziz Hassan, seorang yang kita jemput iaitu hasil kerjasama di PIM Putrajaya dengan AHCO, firm yang berpengalaman khususnya dalam mengendalikan urusan-urusan berkaitan dengan perancangan harta. Jadi saya bagi pihak DPM pertamanya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih di atas kesudian Dr. Aziz menjalin kerjasama dengan pihak DPM Putrajaya bagi menganjurkan program ataupun taklimat ini. Dan untuk maklumat doktor dan semua para peserta, ini merupakan antara kaedah ataupun cara macam mana DPM Putrajaya menganjurkan program khususnya dalam memberikan kemahiran dan juga ilmu kepada usahawan khususnya. Jadi ini merupakan satu daripada 5 inisiatif plan strategik di PIM Putrajaya 2021, 2023, 2024. Jadi selain daripada kita mempunyai tiga agenda utama dalam DPM, iaitu yang pertama untuk mengangkat jihad bisnes sebagai roh untuk berbisnes menggunakan kaedah jihad bisnes. Yang kedua, agenda kita adalah untuk mengangkat halal ekonomi sebagai perjuangan kita. Dan yang ketiga, untuk mempopularkan wakaf korporat sebagai salah satu daripada enjin bagi memanfaatkan community driven dalam bisnes. Jadi ketiga-tiga agenda tersebut kita menggunakan 5 plan strategik, dan salah satu daripada plan strategik itu adalah melalui aktiviti-aktiviti percuma ataupun taklimat percuma seperti yang kita adakan pada pagi ini. Dan motif dia adalah untuk memberikan usahawan sama ada ahli di PIM ataupun bukan ahli, asal mereka ni usahawan, untuk mendapatkan ilmu dan juga kemahiran. Jadi kalau kita ingin berjaya dalam bisnes, ilmu dan kemahiran ni wajib untuk kita dapatkan. Dan program pagi ini adalah salah satu tajuk yang penting. Sebab kalau kita tengok ramai usahawan di luar sana mempunyai bisnes yang pelbagai, mempunyai bisnes yang diusahakan bertahun-tahun lamanya, tetapi akhirnya menghadapi masalah bila berlakunya kematian, khususnya kepada founder ataupun shareholder of the company. Jadi tajuk succession plan, what happen after shareholder dies, itu adalah satu rangkuman masalah sebenarnya. Rangkuman masalah yang biasa berlaku di luar. Jadi kita pun biasa dengar di akhbar berita-berita bagaimana berlakunya pergaduhan kan, berlakunya percekaran, berlakunya saman menyaman di mahkamah bila founder ataupun shareholder company itu meninggal. Jadi isu dia sekarang ni, kenapa benda itu boleh berlaku? Jadi saya rasa persoalan-persoalan tentang itu dapat dijawab oleh Dr. Aziz pada pagi ini. Dan kalau katakan bisnes tu dia mati sebelum mati, tak apa. Jadi maknanya bisnes tu contoh dah terlungkup sebelum owner tu meninggal, okeylah, that's fine. Tapi sudah bila bisnes tu okey kan, maju, berjaya kan, tiba owner meninggal atau shareholder meninggal. Ini yang berlaku, banyak pergaduhan-pergaduhan sampai kes sama menyaman tak berkesudahan bertahun-tahun, bukan 2-3 tahun kan, sampai kadang-kadang memalukan industri, memalukan family kan, benda-benda yang tak sepatutnya keluar maklumat-maklumat kepada masyarakat pun dah terpaksa dikeluarkan dah. Bila dah mahkamah ni semua terpaksa dikeluarkan dah supaya menjadi bukti-bukti ataupun bagi meyakinkan pihak mahkamah untuk memutuskan sesuatu perkara. Jadi saya rasa solution dia sebenarnya ada pada topik kita pada pagi ini. Jadi sebelum benda tu berlaku, sebenarnya kita boleh elakkan dengan adanya ilmu-ilmu yang mungkin boleh dikongsikan oleh Dr. Aziz pada pagi ini. Jadi saya rasa gunakanlah ruang dan peluang pada pagi ini untuk tuan-tuan dan puan-puan menimba ilmu ini, dan kalau ada persoalan-persoalan boleh terus direct bertanya dengan speaker kita pada pagi ini. Dan untuk makluman tuan-tuan dan puan-puan juga, sepanjang November nanti DPIM Putrajaya akan mengadakan majlis-majlis sebegini juga, iaitu antaranya kita akan mengadakan taklimat tentang peluang bisnes pertanian, iaitu Halia Bentong. Kemudian kita juga akan mengadakan kelas database bisnes yang ini berbayar tetapi percuma, yang akan kita adakan dalam pertengahan minggu kedua atau minggu ketiga bulan November. Dan hari sekali kita pun akan mengadakan satu taklimat percuma tentang potensi menjadi negotiator dalam properti lah, kerjasama di DPIM Putrajaya dengan pihak nilai harta consultants yang berhad. Jadi saya rasa kalau tuan-tuan dan puan-puan berminat, boleh hubungi sekretariat ataupun terus kepada pengurusi Biro Latihan Puan Ilis. Jadi saya rasa sekadar itu saja ucapan pendek saya pada pagi ini. Terima kasih di atas perhatian tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Semoga majlis ini berjalan lancar dan mendapat manfaat kepada anda semua. Sekian saja. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih Datuk Sri. Okey, untuk sesiapa yang berminat boleh hubungi, boleh lawati laman web kita di pimpj.ordesini.com. Kita akan update setiap minggu lah apa kelas-kelas terkini, sama ada percuma, berbayar, dan ada juga taklimat percuma, ada tentang geran, ada tentang peluang perniagaan. Macam minggu lepas kita ada buat taklimat tentang peluang bisnes franchise. So kita akan bawa peluang-peluang macam ni lah untuk para usahawan semua. Kita pun melengahkan masa, saya jemput speaker kita untuk hari ini, Dr. Aziz. Silakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Datuk Sri Hanafi sebagai introducer dan pembuka bicara tadi, Puan Liz sebagai MC hari ini, dan semua hadirin yang ada pada pagi ini, saya kira 28 orang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah kita diberi peluang ya untuk berkumpul pagi ini untuk sharing knowledge lah. Nak mengatakan saya ni pandai sangat tidaklah. Pengalaman saya dan belajar sikit, dan pagi ini saya ingin nak sharing apa yang saya belajar dan apa yang saya alami melalui lebih kurang 30 tahun lebih pengalaman saya sebagai seorang usahawan. Sebelum saya mulakan, mungkin saya boleh introduce sikit diri saya. Saya seorang peguam, graduate daripada Lincoln's Inn 1985. Lepas tu saya mencebur diri di dalam bidang financial planning, khususnya bidang estate planning. Kepakaran saya sebagai seorang peguam probate ataupun pesaka memang ada kaitan dengan estate planning. Dan seterusnya saya buat masters dalam bidang financial planning dan doctorate dalam bidang family business succession. Ahko itu ialah Aziz Hassan & Co dan syarikat yang bekerjasama dengan DPIM pagi ini ialah Ahko Corporate Services, satu daripada syarikat saya yang kita buat kerjasama dengan beberapa takaful partner dengan trustee company dan sebagainya, yang ada kaitan dengan isu shareholder succession. Jadi saya nak mulakan perbincangan kita pagi ini ya. Kita ada 2 jam lebih kurang. Hari Ahad ni pula semua orang ada plan masing-masing. Jadi saya pun nak try hari Ahad ni macam mana. Mungkin selepas ini kita akan buat pada masa yang lain. Cadangan saya ialah untuk membuat series perbincangan ini. Topiknya lebih kurang sama, tetapi pengkhususan ataupun emphasisnya mungkin berlainan. Kerana kalau saya nak cakap pasal topik ni memang tak cukup 2 jam, tapi we will do our best to share supaya orang yang hadir pada hari ini tidak merasakan, walaupun kita tak charge merasakan they have learned something, dia ada manfaat. Dan saya tengok hanya 28 orang yang ada, so rasa tidak seramai yang kita expect. Jadi bukan masalah bagi saya isunya ramai ke kurang ke, bukan isu, kerana ini sharing. Tetapi pada saya, kalau setakat 28 orang lah, saya minta host tu benarkan sesiapa nak bertanya, tertanya direct, tak perlu tunjuk Q&A lah. Saya rasa saya lebih suka macam tu. At any time, apa-apa yang saya tanya, kalau siapa yang saya bercakap, siapa yang nak bertanya, ask a direct question, and then we will answer immediately and share with everybody. Itu saya rasa cara yang baik kalau tidak ramai orang. Kalau dah ramai sangat, memang kita kena buat Q&A lah.
Boleh doktor, boleh. Siapa yang nak tu nak bertanyakan pada doktor, boleh angkat tangan dan unmute-kan lah. Cuma saya minta siapa yang bukan sedang bertanya tu boleh mute-kan supaya tak ada gangguan untuk orang lain. Okey,
terima kasih Puan Liz. So let's start So topik hari ini, succession planning, what happens when a shareholder dies. Satu persoalan yang ditanya kepada saya, adakah perbincangan pagi ini dalam bahasa Inggeris ataupun bahasa Malaysia, kerana ramai orang kita sebenarnya yang present hari ini semuanya orang Melayu Islam. Tetapi topik ini saya prepare slide dalam bahasa Inggeris, tapi saya tak ada masalah kalau kita ada soalan dalam bahasa Malaysia ataupun saya punya sharing pun saya akan masukkan dalam bahasa Malaysia juga supaya orang faham at least daripada konteksnya. So there is no problem actually. So topik dia succession planning, what happens when a shareholder dies. Isu kematian, kematian tu pasti. Kematian tu pasti. Isunya apa berlaku bila seseorang meninggal. Kalau kita tanya ustaz ni, dia mula tanya pasal munkar nakir. Itu isu syariah. Hari ni kita nak berbincang tentang pemilik saham atau pemegang saham, shareholder or business owner. Apa berlaku bila dia meninggal dunia. So kalau kita tengok present context sekarang ni, COVID sekarang ni, yang dah bersama dengan kita semenjak kita katakan Mac 2020, kurang lebih 30,000 sudah meninggal. 30,000 people have died since COVID pandemic. Jadi kalau kita ikut pukul rata tu, lebih kurang 18 bulan, we're talking about almost 1,005, 1,005 people per month, right? 1,000 times 12, 18,000 more, 2,000, 2,005, 2,005 people have died. And daripada 2,500 pasti sudah ada tentang orang yang meninggal tu shareholder. So what's going to happen? So let's try to reflect. Apa berlaku bila seseorang tu meninggal? Right? First thing here is accounts are frozen. Accounts are frozen. Personal accounts are frozen. Dan kalau syarikat-syarikat yang shareholder dia seorang tu, lepas tu orang tu pula meninggal, lebih kurang samalah frozen. Duit tak boleh keluar. Right? So that is the immediate impact. Dan kalau kita bercakap tentang pesaka, tidak boleh tidak. Bila cakap tentang kematian, kita cakap tentang pesaka. Tapi topik hari ini bukan directly tentang pesaka. Ada kaitan dia. So bila kita bercakap apa berlaku bila seseorang tu meninggal, the first thing that we will understand is everything is frozen. Bila orang tu meninggal, harta ni menjadi harta pesaka dan semuanya dibekukan. Ada duit dalam bank pun tak boleh keluar. Itu personal. So kalau kita fikir seseorang tu mesti yang business owner, we talk about business owner sekarang ni, dia ada personal asset, dia ada business asset. Okay, personal asset, business asset. So kalau personal asset dia, personal account dia, rumah atas nama dia dan sebagainya. Kalau business asset tu saham atas nama dia. Dan mungkin syarikat itu mungkin ada tanah atas nama syarikat, rumah atas nama syarikat, bangunan atas nama syarikat. So pagi ini konteks kita ialah business owner, ya. Walaupun bercakap tentang pesaka, we're talking about the context of business owner. Jadi saya tidak akan mendalami isu-isu wasiat, isu-isu hibah dan sebagainya. That is not the purpose of today's discussion. So what happens when a person dies? What happens when a shareholder dies? Shareholder dies, what happens to the shares? What happens to the operations of the accounts? Sebelum kita boleh jawab soalan ni, kita kena faham corporate structure. Corporate structure dari dua aspek. Siapa yang faham tentang corporate structure ni, kita tengok dia pemilik saham tu, adakah dia sole proprietor, adakah dia partnership, adakah dia sediaan berhad, ya, pemilik dalam sediaan berhad. These are the three corporate structures yang kita kena faham. Jadi sesiapa yang, saya faham ada orang takaful consultant di sini, kalau nak berinteraksi dengan corporate, you must understand corporate structure, right? So when you talk who is a board director, who is a shareholder, who is a CEO, who is a managing director, you kena faham semua itu, right? Jadi kalau nak fikir dia senang, ya, hari ini fokus kita ialah sendirian berhad. Walaupun partnership to corporate structure, share sole proprietor to corporate structure, okay, tetapi fokus kita hari ini kerana limited time kita fokus on sediaan berhad, okay. Tapi kalau nak tanya tentang partnership, mungkin boleh tanya on a separate occasion lah, ya. Fokus hari ini ialah sediaan berhad, okay. Dan bila kita cakap tentang syarikat tu, okay, kita perlu faham syarikat tu untung ke tak untung. Okay, before we go into that, saya nak talk about the national context. National context. Semua orang faham dan tahu bahawa pesaka sekarang, masalah pesaka yang tidak diselesaikan sekarang 80 billion, it's not million anymore, it's 80 billion. And bila saya aktif dalam isu perwasiatan 20 years ago, in the early 2000, it was only about 20 billion. Now it's 80 billion. Dan persoalan, banyak mana daripada amount ini sebenarnya berkaitan dengan korporat, maknanya saham, nilai saham. Kalau kita tengok Tan Sri JJ, his asset that is sekarang ni bergaduh di mahkamah pun dikatakan 2 billion. Itu business asset, ya, business asset. Because of one company worth that 2 billion. So orang lain macam mana? And how do you settle this? The amount is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Kalau sekadar kita buat wasiat pun memanglah bagus, okay? Because kita senaraikan harta, kita senaraikan hutang. Dan bila kita cakap tentang harta, ya, balik kepada konteks shareholder ni, saya selalu bercakap ni bagi ceramah tentang wasiat. Harta ni ada 3 jenis. Harta si mati ni ada 3 jenis, ya. Harta si mati. Dalam konteks shareholder dia lagi relevan. Harta kita atas nama kita, very clear, right? Itu harta pusaka. Harta kita atas nama orang, harta pusaka juga, tetapi because dia atas nama orang, bila kita meninggal, harta itu tidak perlu dituntut melalui harta pusaka, but it is harta pusaka on nominee's name, maknanya harta orang ketiga, proxy, whatever you call. And ini termasuk anak-anak, termasuk isteri, termasuk proxy kita. So dalam konteks business, this is very relevant because a lot of people have proxies. Yeah, for whatsoever reason, for tax reasons, for sometimes they are government servants who cannot use their name. Jadi dia pakai nama orang. Jadi harta kita atas nama orang. Bila kita meninggal, saham tu apa jadi? Dia tidak jadi harta pusaka yang perlu dituntut kerana orang yang registered owner tu tidak mati. So that is the second category. Harta kita atas nama orang. First category, harta kita atas nama kita. Very clear. Itu buat tuntutan harta pusaka. The third one is harta orang atas nama kita. Kita proxy. Nah, benda dia berkaitan bila kita kata what happens when a shareholder dies. shareholder tu means registered shareholder. Tapi kalau dia proxy untuk orang, apa jadi? Tuntutan tu macam mana? So this is one of the issues in Tan Sri JJ's punya estate, because it is said that it is not under his name, but it actually belongs to him because there is a trust. Ultimately, there is a trust for his benefit. Therefore, it is still part of harta pusaka. Jadi kita kena faham what happens when a shareholder dies ni. Kita nak tahu registered shareholder tu yang meninggal, is he the real owner or not? And how do we protect against this position? Dan kita kena faham, kalau kita faham corporate structure ni, shareholder owns the shares. Shareholder akan determine siapa jadi board of directors, right? Board directors determine the policies of the company, ya, arah tuju dan dia nak berniaga apa dan sebagainya, dan dia akan lantik management untuk melaksanakan policy board. So these three categories tu kita kena faham bila kita cakap tentang business dan shareholding. Shareholder lantik board, board lantik management. Okay, so the difference between CEO and MD is CEO is not on the board, MD is on the board. Dan ada orang director tetapi dia not in management. Jadi all this has an impact on what happens when a shareholder dies. Kalau shareholder tu ownership sahaja, the management is not affected. Tapi hari ini kita fokus more on ownership succession. Bila cakap succession planning, dia ada dua. Dia ada ownership succession dan management succession. Okay. Tapi sebelum kita pergi lebih lanjut lagi, saya nak kita fahamkan dalam konteks pemilikan ni, let's understand the entrepreneurial journey, right? So next, Kamil, please share the slide. Kamil boleh share?
Boleh.
Next.
Okay.
Next. Ya. Nampak. Okay. Next. Next. Not moving. Okay. This one kita bypass dulu. Kita will go back to this later on. I want to go to entrepreneurial journey. Next, come here. Entrepreneurial journey. Next. Okay, this one next. Okay. So bila kita cakap tentang shareholder ni, the first question when a person dies, soalan yang kita nak tanya, business dia tu untung ke tidak? You know, there was a time when I buat harta pusaka dulu, ada pentadbir ni, dia mohon untuk masuk surat kuasa. At that time, ada what is called estate duty. Estate duty ni, dia akan kenakan cukai, estate duty ni, estate tax ke atas harta pusaka yang lebih daripada 2 juta. There was a cut off. This was before 1993. Semasa Tun Daim menjadi Menteri Keuangan, dia zero rise or zero rated this. So now there is no inheritance tax ataupun death duties. But sebelum tu ada. So the point I'm trying to say here is, kalau kita nak buat tuntutan harta pusaka, make sure the company is viable and making money. Otherwise, no purpose claiming harta pusaka. It's not worth putting in, lepas tu kena tax. And I was not the first lawyer who came into that harta pusaka. The point I'm trying to say here, for the purposes of harta pusaka, it is no use trying to claim business yang tidak untung. Right? Tidak untung. So when a shareholder dies, what happens when a shareholder dies? The first thing the waris must know is, company itu untung ke tidak? Is it worth moving on? Okay? Is it worth taking over? Is it worth managing? Okay? Untung ke tidak? And if the company hidup segan mati tak mau, and it's got a lot of debts, so only issue is siapa jadi guarantor lah hutang-hutang itu. Otherwise the company is not worth taking over. Might as well start a new company. Tetapi kalau kita nak tahu daripada konteks business ni, let's talk about the 5 stages of business growth. siapa yang, this is quite basic, siapa yang tahu pasal corporate ni please bear with me ya. So I just want to bawa benda ni supaya orang faham bila kita cakap tentang bisnes dan kematian ni, kita kena faham tentang what stage is the business. Okay, kalau kita cakap the stage, there are 5 stages here. You have existence, survival, success, take off, and the last part is resource maturity. Okay, kalau kita tengok in terms of number of years, let me share. Stage 1 ni is basically a startup. Okay, startup. The first 1 year, kalau statistik lah, if you go to literature, Banci dan sebagainya, it is a fact that 95% of new companies fail in the first year. Fail. One of the reason here is they don't know the difference between cash flow and profit. They don't even know what is their unit cost. Some people get an OD facility, overdraft facility. Atau dia buat bisnes, pada dia duit ada, tapi sebenarnya, okay, kos dia tu melebihi dia punya untung. Dia jual banyak mana pun, okay, he will never make a profit. And dia tak nampak benda ni because cash flow ada, because of the overdraft facility. Tapi hakikatnya, lagi banyak dia berniaga, lagi banyak hutang dia. And at the end, overdraft pun habis, business pun cannot continue. So 95%, dia macam orang kata macam penyu yang pergi ke laut lah, 5% only come back. You know, anak-anak penyu. So we have to understand if the business in the first year tu memang is not worth. Kalau mati hanyut ke laut lah kata. Yeah? That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't mean what happens when a shareholder dies. Okay, from the context of pesaka, it is no use trying to take over. Lepas sajalah, tak declare pun tak apa. Alright? Okay. Now, again, this is a side topic, but maybe later on kita can discuss what happens when a person gets bankrupt because of business when he dies. Okay? When a business owner dies and he's a bankrupt. So satu cerita lain, but it is not for discussion today because it's a topic by itself. So I just want to say, the first 1 year, 95% of startups fail. Okay, the second stage is the first year to the 5th year. Out of the 5%, 50% will fail. 50% will fail. Right? That is survival stage now. Okay? Now, the survival stage after the next 5 years here is, okay, survive. They survive, they go on. But there is another stage even before you get to success is where survive, boleh itu, but every month still firefighting, trying to pay overhead. Right? Now, kita pernah dengar ni, ramai kita yang orang Melayu Islam di sini, kita pernah dengar orang berniaga ni, kalau dia berniaga burger kat luar tu, dia boleh buat 5,000 sebulan. Dia probably 1 or 2 anak beranak dia. Tapi bila dia go to the next level, dia buka restoran, kan? So where is the problem there? That means dia cash flow control, banyaklah sebab-sebab. But kita tengok banyak, they simply cannot get to the next level. Bila dia, kalau dia buat secara kecil, dia untung. Tapi bila dia nak besar, they get into trouble and they fail. So persoalan kita kata, what happens when he dies dalam tengah-tengah macam ni? Anak sanggup ambil, waris sanggup ambil, boleh kejual dan sebagainya. Okay? So after 10 years, then the company is maknanya survive. But you want to go to the next level of consolidation, okay, is the next level. Okay, once you consolidate, you're actually making money. Then the next is, okay, do you go for listing? Do you sell? Do you pass on to the children dan sebagainya. So kita kena faham the stages of business growth ni. Bila kita cakap shareholder tu meninggal, business tu dia macam mana? Don't be too sure that the company is making money. If the company is not making money, no purpose to itu. Now, in this context, I want to go back to Kamil. We go back to impact here. Impact, earlier. Okay. Now, okay, that one. Different impact depending on whether family or non-family business. Okay. Now, tadi we cakap tentang corporate structure. Kita cakap tentang corporate structure, we talking about what type of business is it? Is it sole proprietor, seorang, partnership lebih pada dua dan not under a corporatized structure. Then you have a sendirian berhad. Okay, these are the three main categories lah. I don't want to go into the berhad part. So bila kita cakap, it has different impact depending on family or non-family business. Okay, dan di sini the first impact that I want to emphasize here is the issue of debts. Saya melalui 30 tahun bisnes ni, and I come to realize that you need to settle your debts. Kita orang niaga ni, orang yang itu ni, whatever it is, you ada hutang. I think orang yang berniaga tanpa hutang ni cukup hebat lah. Alright, if you just grow memang itu. But pada saya, I think almost every business owner who wants to start a business has debts. Right? So when a person dies, what happens? Okay, dan pada saya lah, kalau kita tengok dalam konteks, bukan dalam konteks pesaka, konteks diri kita sendiri, you plan, you are a business owner, and then kita fikir, apa berlaku kalau aku mati? Hutang-hutang aku, siapa nak settle? And you must cover this. This where I bukan nak jual takaful di sini, but this is where takaful is very relevant, right? Very relevant. Your personal debts, your the personal loan dan sebagainya. Sometimes kita dengan kawan-kawan ya, kawan-kawan ni ialah yang bagi pinjam duit lah ya. Ada kawan-kawan bagi pinjam duit tuntut lebih pada bank. Ada yang kawan-kawan dia tak tuntut tapi dia tak halalkan. Kan? Akhirat dia minta juga. Dan kalau di akhirat kita bawa hutang, kalau kita tak boleh selesaikan hutang kita, pahala kita bagi ke orang yang kita berhutang. Ya. Dan kalau kita dah habis pahala, dosa dia pula kita tanggung. So it is so important dalam konteks business when it's the impact of what happens when a shareholder dies. Please think about what debts you have. In fact, bila kita cakap tentang wasiat, for those people who are wasiat practitioners, I come to realize that wasiat sebenarnya is not so much about giving away harta to your family, but really listing down what debts you have. Because sebenarnya yang pentingnya kita live this world without debts. How much you have extra to give away to your family, that's a bonus. We come with nothing, we go back with nothing. Tetapi jangan bawa hutang. So dalam konteks ni, especially business owners, personal debts, you and your friends. Business debts, you are a guarantor. Kalau you dapat you punya family members, orang lain sebagai guarantor, and something happens to you, diorang pula kena tanggung, can you just imagine what they be saying to you after you go? So hutang ini ada kaitan impact of death tu, hutang kena selesai. That's where you have to plan now. Yeah? And the best way is with your takaful consultant. So kalau kita ada personal debt tadi, debt settlement, list down. Itu bila cakap tentang wasiat, sebenarnya pada saya wasiat is senaraikan harta tu satulah, yang lebih penting sebenarnya hutang. Kita tak nak orang datang kepada keluarga kita kata ayah awak ada hutang dengan saya sekian-sekian, tapi tak ada surat menyurat. Kalau percaya bayar, kalau tak percaya saya tuntut di akhirat. So sebenarnya kita ni, ya, bila cakap kita ni dan kematian ni, I have a brother who is a doctor, medical doctor. We are all in our 60s. So I'm 61, 62 next year. So dia tua sikit 2 tahun daripada saya. So dia buat joke sambil-sambil kita bercakap. Dia kata, Aziz, dia kata, before 60 you can go anywhere. After 60 we can go anytime. And I say, okay. Because ramai orang, 90 ni memang time to go lah. You got to be very reflective on your time and how you going to go. Tapi sekarang ni lepas COVID ni, COVID punya pandemic dah tukar dah. Bukan before 60 you can go anywhere, after 60 you can go anytime. Sekarang ni anybody can go anytime. Right? So whether you agree with me or not. Right? Kita ada sahabat kita, those who knows arwah Amir Bahari. Very young, tak sampai 50 pun. 40 what? 45, 46. Kena COVID 5 hari terus. Just like that. Memanglah dia ada penyakit sikit, but what we're trying to say here is more than just being a business owner and making your business work. Make sure that you don't leave debts behind if anything happens to you. So kena fikirlah macam mana. Kan? Kalau kita kata business ni kalau jual tolak hutang tu boleh hidup lagi, but can you settle? Can you sell the assets? So we have to think untuk business, how to make the business survive, but at the same time personally, right? So debt settlement, kita kena settle. Buat senarai kawan-kawan yang kita berhutang. Okay, dan also orang yang berhutang dengan kita pun kita kena senaraikan juga. Kan? All this, kita bagi hutang ke orang, orang bagi hutang kat kita, right? Then we are talking about loan cancellation. Okay, loan cancellation or loan settlement. Kalau kita dapat pinjaman daripada bank kerana kita, and then we go, and the business suffers, and anak-anak kita semua guarantors. How is the business going to itu? So we must take, macam kita katalah kita beli property loan ada MRTT, something like that. You have to cover this. So debt settlement you have to cover, loan cancellation yang ada debt you have to cover in respect of the business loan. Key management, kita juga key management. The business is going to be affected. So all this we have to plan. This is going to be an impact on the business. What happens when a shareholder dies? Benda-benda ni akan timbul. Then one of the things that we are going to talk about later on is the buy-sell funding for purchase of shares. So depending on whether it's family or non-family business, especially if it's a non-family business, there have to be an agreement between the parties untuk buy and sell saham orang yang meninggal tu, orang yang masih the surviving partner will buy. When I say partner here, I'm still talking about sedia berhad, I'm talking about partnership, ya. Because partnership ni lain, dia tidak ada saham yang didaftarkan. That's why it is unincorporated as opposed to incorporated under SSM kalau kita daftarkan sedia berhad. So dalam konteks kita bila cakap buy sell ni, it is more for sedia berhad. Tapi it doesn't mean that kalau kita partners, and this is where the professionals banyak masuk. Legal firm pun sama juga. It doesn't mean that lawyers know the law, they do agreements for everybody. Dia sendiri, you know, I know a case, Malik father punya kawan. Malik father was a lawyer, his friends also lawyers. Case jadi apa? There were two partners. So my father's friend, he passed away. Partnership 50-50. It was a successful legal firm. Valuation is very subjective lah. Dia meninggal, tapi at the time dia meninggal tu dia ada 2 isteri. So they couldn't agree on the value of the firm. Bukan, we are not talking about the partner. We are talking about the 2 wives couldn't decide on what is the value, whether they want to sell or not dan sebagainya. So at the end, the partner yang nak beli tu, dia nak beli. Dia nak tahu berapa nilai nak jual dan cara nak settle. But because the 2 wives couldn't settle, couldn't agree, he got fed up. He dissolved the firm. He took his files out and set up his own. So in the end, nothing. Itu partnership. So sedia berhad pun, it can happen like that because they are apart from family, there may be key professional managers who may leave the company after you go. So benda-benda ni kita kena ambil kira. Okay, so kami next. Okay, now we're talking about the shareholder structure. Selepas kita bercakap tentang sole proprietor, what happens sole proprietor tu separate cerita, what happens with the partnership also separate story, and we were talking banyak tentang what happens when a shareholder dies in a sedia berhad. Now, saya cakap tadi, shareholder, board director, management. Dalam small company, orang yang sama tiga-tiga, dia juga shareholder, dia juga executive chairman, dia juga board director chairman, dia juga executive chairman. Semua dia. So there is an impact on that. But the bigger companies will have professional management, ataupun dia ada passive shareholders tetapi not on the board, not on directors dan sebagainya. And juga berkait-kait dengan isu proxy ni. Jadi proxy ni pun satu hal. Dia kat belakang tapi dia control through someone else. What happens when that person dies? Ini kita cakap tadi, kalau kita mati, harta atas nama orang lain. Proxy holder kita tu mati. What happens? Harta kita tapi atas nama orang lain. Orang tu pula mati. So unless there is an agreement, there is something, orang tu dia ada dua perkara lah, the family of the deceased. Kalau dia tahu, well, sama ada tanggungjawab dia untuk transfer ataupun tidak, mungkin dia tak claim harta saham itu. Tetapi kalau dia tak tahu, dia akan claim. Dia akan claim saham itu. So what I'm trying to say here is everything must be in writing. So wasiat ni penting, bukan juga isu nak membagikan harta, ya. Faraid is also a very big issue, but kalau ada deed of family arrangement, tak nak ikut faraid pun tak ada masalah. Tapi persoalan sekarang ni, apa harta yang atas nama kita, apa harta orang mati itu dan sebagainya. So when we talk about impact of death of a shareholder, all these things come about. Okay, itu kita cakap tentang corporate structure tadi, ya. Now we are talking about a different structure. We are talking about whether the business is family owned or non-family owned, and it has different implications when the shareholder dies. Okay, now family owned business ni, this is my area of specialization. I did my thesis on this. Family business succession. Family business succession ni dia bukan bawah law, dia bawah entrepreneurship ataupun strategic management. Because succession is something that you plan in front, so it's very strategic. So it's strategic planning or strategic management. Tapi dia bawa entrepreneurship juga, because entrepreneur dies and what happens to the shares. Dan isunya lain, because dalam family owned business, we look at the definition. Family owned business defined as a family owning, collectively owning a business. It may be parent, child, father, son, whatever, husband, wife, or two or more siblings, or combination of any members linked through bloodline. Maknanya, bila kita cakap family business ni, it is majority owned or 100% owned. Okay, 100% owned. So, it may involve one person having a majority. But the most important thing bila kita cakap family owned business ni, dia kena ada niat to pass to the next generation. So having majority is one thing. There are people who start a business, dia niat dia tak ada untuk paskan untuk anak dia. There is no sentimentality, there is no attachment. Pada dia business ni, kalau good business dia jual. Right? Dia tak ada apa-apa, dia tak nak pass kat children dia. Children dia kata bagi duit aja. Dia nak buat apa, dia buat apa. But the business, to me, a business is nothing sentimental. I don't want to pass it to the children. They may not like what I'm doing. So ada orang macam tu. Ada orang pula, bila I build up, the business is my name, the business is my family name, I want my children to continue, because nak buat business ni senang. Kita bukan senang. Kita ni dah start through all that. Now the company is successful. So the children can just come in and continue a successful business and maintain or bring it to the next level. They don't have to struggle through all the stages of entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial journey yang kita discuss tadi. Everybody has to go there if you start from scratch. So bila father ni, dia nak start benda macam ni, dia fikir, aku dah ada business and the business is generating good income. What do I do with the business? Dia banyak aspek lah. Bila cakap tentang family business ni, before we go to non-family. Family business ni orang bila start tu dia nak pass on to the children, because the business tu dah jadi macam baby dia lah, project dia. Pada dia, that is their life. Okay, that is their life. So you just imagine this family business during this pandemic. Okay, senang cakap, the resilience of entrepreneurs in family business is stronger because dia ada niat to make sure the business survive. They want to pass on to their children. So they have a very long-term view or long-term horizon in terms of planning. This is just something which any business will have to go through. Bukan dia seorang aja yang kena COVID punya problem. Pandemic ni, semua orang. Everybody cannot do business. So in that sense, it's an even playing field. Semua orang susah. So siapa yang recover dulu can take advantage. Siapa yang plan dulu, some people cannot do business. So they plan, they restructure, they do everything. They renovate the business, they do everything because they cannot do business. So they do something else which will, or they go digitalize. They go in area which will enhance the business. Selalunya berlaku family business. Very long term view. Selalunya. Okay. Or very big companies lah where memang benda ni akan continue. But we are talking here about not public listed companies. Right? So kita boleh nampak family business tu macam mana. Father dia start, dia nak bagi dekat anak. Okay. So that's the definition of family owned business. It is owned by family. So dari segi definition, if someone starts a business on his own ataupun dia majority, kalau dia ada intention nak kembangkan dan jadi benda tu untuk family dia, it's a family business. Okay, and normally they own majority. Okay, what is a non-family owned business? Non-family owned business are businesses owned by parties who are not related by blood. Okay, saya dengan Datuk Sri Hanafi, we are not related by blood. Kalau katakan saya buat perniagaan dengan dia, then it's a non-family owned business. Right? So also here is, when we talk about a non-family owned business, nobody has majority control and decision is done by consensus. Okay, oh ada please mute. Ada orang nak tanya soalan gitu. Jadi non-family business ni tak ada siapa ada majority control, semua buat consensus. Family business ni dia majority, kalau dia ada orang partner dia pun dia akan tanya, tetapi at the end of the day they will say no, I think this is the way we want to go. You want to go left, you want to go right, or you want to go straight? So dia akan tanya semua orang yang ada saham, tapi at the end of the day dia akan buat keputusan. Okay, dia akan buat keputusan which way they are going to go. So non-family business are businesses not related by blood or family ties. None of shareholders have majority control. Decision making process is mostly done by consensus. So cuba kita fikirkan sekarang ni, what is the impact, okay, of death of a shareholder in a family owned and non-family owned business. And bila kita faham apa impact tu, how do you plan in such a way that whatever problems that may arise is cushion lah. Maknanya kita bila kita tahu potential problem, kita ambil, take steps, make strategies to overcome the problem as best as we can. Right, as best as we can. So tadi kita cakap tentang the type of business. Okay, now we talk about the ownership structure. The ownership structure. Right? So kalau you tanya saya, there are also, again, when we talking about here, we are talking about ownership. Yeah. So apa berlaku bila shareholder meninggal? But there are cases when people just own the business, but they are not in management. Ada macam tu juga. Dia keluar duit aja. Okay, what happened when they die? The business will continue because there's someone running the business. It will not be impacted. But the question here is, bila jadi harta pesaka, macam mana? Kalau anak nak masuk, macam mana? Kalau anak nak jual, macam mana? Apa nilai dia? Macam mana nak bahagikan sama-sama waris-waris ni? Waris faraid dan sebagainya. Kalau isteri lebih daripada seorang, nak bahagi macam mana? How do you get the value of the business in such a way that benda ni boleh dibahagikan so that everybody is happy? And what I'm trying to say here is, this is the issue that is increasing our pesaka problem. Dia bukan isu tanah, memanglah isu tanah tu berkaitan. Balik kepada isu 80 bilion harta pesaka problem ni. Kita nak suruh orang buat wasiat. Yes, it's good, better. Okay, you do a listing of harta, listing of debts, listing of macam mana kita nak bahagi. That is a progressive step. Tetapi kalau diorang ni masih nak berbalah, Tak selesai juga harta pusaka. They refuse to get involved because they feel that dia nak menyusahkan. So, issue, you must know your family members. You must know your family members. You must know where the problems are. So, orang yang ada lebih daripada satu family ni bukan semestinya 2 isteri ataupun lebih. Ada orang, dia berkahwin, isteri meninggal ataupun dia bercerai, lepas tu dia kahwin seorang lagi. So, at any one time, only one wife. He's got more than one family. Because dia ada anak by the first family, right, yang wife dah meninggal ataupun wife yang dah bercerai, dan dia kahwin lain. You got more than one family. And the children are all growing up. Now, orang yang ada more than one wife at any one time, itu pandai bersilat lah. Pandai hidup, pandailah kita plan. Right? But you must be aware of the problems because it's like a time bomb. And silat air bulan, dia maki you selepas mati ni. And the problem will continue. One of the pesaka matters that I'm doing, 10 tahun tak habis lagi. After 10 years baru keluar harta tercicir. Just imagine that. That means someone duk sembunyikan harta. Why they do that? Rupanya sewa je duk kutip. Lepas tu dia tak declare. Kalau kita nak cakap, I kata this is almost CBT. Pecah amanah. You kutip sewa daripada harta pusaka yang you tak declare sebagai harta pusaka 10 tahun. Lepas tu benda tu keluar and you say, oh sorry, harta tercicir. What happened to the money that you kutip? Sepatutnya you pulangkan balik dengan harta pusaka untuk dibahagikan. But this is what is happening. And this is compounded when you have proxy issues. Right? Okay, we'll cakap sambil-sambil yang cakap juga tentang harta pusaka, isu Felda, for example. Okay. I don't know whether it has been amended. Tapi masa saya aktif praktis tentang pusaka dulu, pesaka tanah Felda ni satu nama je boleh turun. Satu nama je. Maknanya kalau peneroka tu atas nama dia boleh turun pada seorang yang akan pegang untuk berpihak. Faraid tu satu hal. Tapi pada dia, undang-undang tanah Felda ni, only one name. So that person either create a trust deed for and on behalf of everybody else. Maknanya hasil daripada tanah Felda itu kena dibahagikan ikut hukum faraid. Tapi benda tu tak selesai lah. This is one of the issues also. And that is not a business, ya. Kalau business ni macam mana? Untungnya macam mana? What happens when the person who takes over the business tapi declare tak ada untung, tetapi tiap-tiap tahun gaji dia bertambah, kereta bertukar, overseas whole family pergi, orang lain yang bukan dalam bisnes tapi shareholder tak dapat apa-apa. Don't you think this is going to create conflict within the family? So orang yang sekarang ni, if you are still alive, you can anticipate all this, you have to address this problem. You cannot just sweep under the carpet. This is going to be a time bomb when you die. So bila kita cakap, what is the impact of death of a shareholder? You are the shareholder now. Tak mati lagi kita. Tapi cuba kita fikirkan down the road, what is going to happen when we die. Right? So, sekarang ni kita cakap non-family dan family, ya, and the impact is different depending on whether it's a family or non-family business. Okay, now I want to go to talk about the overall legacy planning for a business owner. Ya, yalah, saya tahu memang ada wasiat practitioners di sini. You also know about this. Kalau ada difference of opinion, we can share. Dalam masalah, semua ada pendapat masing-masing. Tapi the approach I'm taking is a bit different. The approach I'm taking, I'm talking from the shareholder point of view and how to plan forward, anticipating problems. So next, Kamil. Okay, bila kita cakap tentang business owner, kita business owner, okay? Kita kena faham, kita ada private asset dan kita ada business asset. Right? Kita ada private asset dan business asset. Private asset tu atas nama kita sendiri. Business asset tu yang atas nama syarikat tapi kita pemilik. I'm not talking about yang proxy atau itu. This one is simple, straightforward. Semua saham atas nama kita. Okay? Kalau kita 100%, kita 100% lah. Kalau kita 60%, 60% lah. Kalau kita 30%, kalau kita tengok di sini, the business asset, family or non-family. But from the context of a business owner, you are the private asset and you are the business asset. Okay, and the private asset, you have cash in bank under your name, your house, you have bank account, you have PLC shares dan sebagainya. And then you have the business asset. Tapi selalunya I dare say business owner ni 80% at least will be in the business. Dan kalaupun dia ada banyak aset, sometimes dia taruh dalam company dan company itu diletakkan di bawah business asset supaya for tax purposes benda tu diambil kira sebagainya lah. So private asset ni dia ambil gaji ataupun dia ada income dan sebagainya. So bila berlaku kematian, there must be a listing of all these private assets, okay, debts also. Dan business asset ni, inilah kata bila cakap business asset ni, it must be run properly lah. Dia masalah pesaka ni banyak berlaku because things are not transparent, especially when how the business is run, right? Now, bila kita bercakap tentang 3 account, for those in business, tak kira lah Melayu, Cina, apa semua, kata ada 3 jenis account. Satu account untuk diri kita sendiri, kita tahu sebenarnya berapa untung kita buat. Satu account untuk tax, kita tak nak declare banyak-banyak, nanti tax kena mahal bayar. Dan satu lagi ialah untuk bank, itu kita perlu untung banyak-banyak supaya bank bagi favorable. Bila kita nak pinjaman tu dia tengok untung kita lebih. So dia 3 types, right, of accounts. Tetapi bila berlaku kematian, well, only one set will come out. Tapi issue on how it is managed, it is something else lah, right? So isu yang saya nak timbulin isu transparency, ya. Dan dalam konteks ni juga saya just want to highlight lah, ini perkara new product I'm thinking of, macam Datuk Seri Hanafi bercakap tentang wakaf korporat tadi. Saya sebenarnya dalam perancangan ataupun dalam proses working on wakaf korporat bracket waris, perniagaan waris, family business, where you wakaf the business asset. Kalau kita nampak ni, okay, you got private asset, you got business asset, you actually wakaf the business asset. Okay, and when kita wakaf, kita tahu siapa yang faham dengan konsep wakaf ni, pahala yang berkekalan. And I'm trying to fine tune this model because sebenarnya tak ada lagi orang yang buat benda macam ni. Banyak wakaf ni wakaf tanah kosong, tanah nak buat bangunan, cash wakaf, corporate wakaf yang DPIM buat through wakaf holding tu, whereby you get people to subscribe shares into the business and then you buy into assets. But what I'm trying to do ni, the family business asset yang nampak belah kanan tadi, okay, that one is actually wakaf. Okay, so just to share with you lah, for those who are interested in this concept, maybe you can talk to me directly. Dia masih dalam orang kata perancangan because banyak isu yang kita perlu halusi. Okay, so sekarang ni business owner, ya, you have private asset, you have business asset. Bila cakap tentang private asset ni, dia ada distribution, dia ada preservation. Apa difference dia distribution dan preservation? Kita katakan orang yang private asset dia banyak. Ramai orang bila buat perancangan pesaka ni, dia hanya memikirkan anak-anak, one level sahaja. And then dia nak distribution tu before death or after death. Itu sahaja. Before death, hibah ataupun into vivos gift. Okay, transfer nama terus. Hibah, yalah, hibah pun banyak jenis, ada yang transfer, ada tak transfer. Saya tak nak go direct into issue of hibah. Kita perlu faham pemberian semasa hidup ataupun sebelum mati ialah hibah. Dan kalau cukup syarat, ia tidak menjadi harta pesaka. Right? So distribution after death is through faraid, ataupun kalau orang yang faham hak dia dan dia nak bertolak ansur, dia boleh buat deed of family arrangement ataupun dokumen muafakat keluarga, di mana semua orang bertolak ansur dan redha tentang bahagian dia dalam hukum faraid ini. Dia redha, maknanya yang lelaki tu dia tak ambil bahagian dia sama rata katakan. Jadi itu boleh juga diletakkan dalam wasiat, tetapi hak-hak waris faraid tu dia kena bagi konsen kalau dia hak dia. Dan di sini hak-hak waris faraid di bawah umur tidak boleh dikurangkan, ya, because they cannot give consent. So that is one generation, and this is what the planning is now. Meaning, nak bagi sebelum mati, nak bagi selepas mati. Dan kita faham apa isu-isu dalam family kita. Satu family, dua family, more than one wife, dan sebagainya. Ya, kita tahu. That's why it's very important bila cakap tentang distribution ni, ialah kita tahu siapa waris faraid kita kalau kita akan mati. Bila kita mati nanti, waris faraid siapa? Susu galuh dia macam mana? Now, the other part is preservation, multi-generation. Apa different dia one generation and multi-generation ni? Different dia ialah ada orang, dia ada harta yang dia nak wariskan turun-temurun. Okay, turun-temurun. Either they have a lot of money ataupun dia inherit a lot of money, ya. Dan dia nak benda ni, konsep dia macam wakaf juga, but they put into a trust whereby you take the benefit and you distribute the benefit. That means preservation here, you don't do distribution. Okay? Preservation here, you don't do distribution. You preserve. So, selalunya preservation ni, you put under a trust. So, dalam konteks di sini, saya tahu family office ni, family office is just basically, it can be a family holding company, ataupun you can appoint someone, a trustee dan sebagainya, whereby when the assets itu Huda is perpetual, yes, wakaf is perpetual. So preservation is perpetual, it's not one generation. Family office is a new tool where they reinvest all the family assets, and some of it is distributed and some of it is reinvested. Okay, bila saya cakap family war chest, ni kita faham sikit. Orang yang kaya sangat ni, dia ada family war chest tu. Dia ada duit keluarga dia. Kalau berlaku macam pandemik, berlaku macam subprime, harga jatuh, stock market jatuh, diorang ni suka. Kita yang kabut jual takut rugi. Tetapi these people yang ada duit ni, who has got enough money to do multi-generation and preservation, what they do here is they buy when people sell and they sell when people buy. They are contrarians. So you just imagine kalau dia tahu blue chip jatuh, kan, dia akan beli. Lepas tu bila orang dah recover, dia akan jual. Lepas tu dia simpan balik duit dia. And that's what they do. They only distribute a bit and this will be reinvested. So there are people who's got more money than what they think the family needs. Okay, cuba kita fahamkan what is more money. Dia harta ni kan, memanglah kita sebagai parent, kita nak menyenangkan family kita dan orang yang kita sayang. Right? Orang yang kita sayang. Bila kita hidup, kita jaga dia. Bila kita mati, kita nak harta kita jaga dia. Right? Kerana kita sayang dia. Right? So this is where this multi-generational punya concept comes in. But it is only for people who got more wealth than itu. Ramai di antara kita ni, one generation ni pun belum tahu cukup ke tidak. Okay. But kalau kita faham konsep rezeki Allah, Allah dah tetapkan semua. Kita tak perlu risau sebenarnya. We just work hard and then we pray hard. Kita doa. Allah dah menentukan segala-galanya. Kita tak perlu risau cukup ke tak cukup dan sebagainya. So ini di private asset, kalau kita cakap tentang family office ni, memanglah orang kata satu hari bercakap pun banyak benda nak cerita. But dalam konteks pagi ni is just a starting point. So bila kita cakap business asset pula, business asset ni bila kita nak buat legacy planning, kita kena faham dalam konteks family or non-family business. Dan ada orang, dia ada dua-dua sekali. Ada business dia yang dia control. Ada business yang dia invest, yang dia shareholder, tapi dia bukan, dia passive shareholder. So non-family. Ada yang family, ada yang non-family. Tak semestinya business owner ni, kita nak bila cari peluang ni, ada kawan ajak kita masuk. Kita masuk saham. Tapi kita director kosong, kita bukan management. Okay? So we own shares. Tapi kita punya sendiri, kita manage. Right? So dalam konteks ini, dia punya cara dia lain. What are the documents involved? Tadi kita cakap tentang non-family owned business. Saya dengan Datuk Seri Hanafi, kita go into business. Okay. Isu yang pertama ialah what happens when one of us dies. Imagine a situation, 10 tahun, saya dengan Datuk Sri Hanafi, bisnes. Kita start dulu bisnes, okeylah, masuklah kata 100,000 seorang. Lepas tu masuk sikit-sikit sampai dah capital sekarang 1 juta seorang, katakanlah. So we are 50-50, just the two of us, right? 50-50. So sekarang ni paid up capital kita 2 juta, 1 million each. Sambil tanya ni, saya bercakap ni, saya boleh cakap, are we having a break? MC Pandis, are we having a break? Kau takut orang nak itu ke?
Topik menarik sangat, Doktor. Rasa macam tak nak break.
Mungkin kita 11.30 kita break 10 minit kot, siapa nak buat air ke nak apa ke, ya. Siapa yang nak fikir ada soalan ke dan sebagainya. Tapi itulah, bila saya bercakap ni, I don't want it to be dari segi itu, because it's all practical experience. I'm trying to provoke orang untuk berfikir tentang isu-isu yang relevan, right? Isu-isu yang relevan, and the whole thing is about solution. We understand the problem, what is the solution? If there's no solution, what is a partial solution? And we keep on working on the solution. But before we can find the solution or work towards a solution, we must understand the problem. Kalau kita tak faham problem itu, memang haru biru lah jawabnya. So, balik kepada cerita kita, buy and sell agreement. Apa tu buy sell agreement? Saya dengan Datuk Sri Hanafi, tak apa ya, I buat you sebagai model lah, Datuk Sri. Datuk Sri ada lagi kita. So anyway, if anything happens to either one of us, okay, now the paid up capital is 2 million, 1 million each. What happens if something happens to me? Yalah, saya lah dulu, saya tua lagi daripada dia. If anything happens to me, now the company is paid up capital 1 million each, 2 million paid up capital semua. But the value may be 10 million. Okay, the value, goodwill and everything. What is the value of a company? The value of the company is the value if you wanted to sell, somebody wants to buy. That would be the value. The question here is, kalau kita tanyalah successful entrepreneur ni, agaknya berapalah nilai? Aku tak nak jual. Okay, if you don't want to sell, what is the price that you don't want to sell for? Kalau orang offer aku 20 juta, aku tak nak jual, because projek ni, I got oil and gas project coming, kerajaan punya projek itu dan ini, I know the potential of the business. I won't sell even for 20 million. So at least for the purposes of agreeing on the value, sama kita, we put 20 million. There must be a mechanism to value. Ataupun you appoint the auditor, accountant kita yang duk buat accountant, dia the best person who will know. Because the valuation is very much dependent on the industry. Are you in the services industry? Are you in retail business? Are you into trading? Are you into manufacturing? Are you into property? Different type of business, different type of valuation. Right? And the person yang jaga account kita, finance person, is the best person lah. But it's very subjective. Very subjective. At the end of the day, willing buyer, willing seller. Tetapi I nak start sekarang ni, saya dengan Datuk Sri Hanafi ni, 2 juta, 1 million each, we have to agree what happens when one of us dies. So kalau saya mati, and then my children come and say, Datuk, ayah saya punya saham ni berapa nilai ya? Can you buy from us? First, what is the valuation? Second is, Datuk Sri ada ke duit nak beli cash like that lying around? And for your information, saham macam ni, you tak boleh get funding from the bank. You cannot get funding from the bank. Right? Because dia tak ada collateral. They cannot use the private limited company as collateral to purchase shares. So that means there must be another mechanism. So the first thing is buy-sell agreement. Saya dengan Datuk Sri kena ada perjanjian. Kalau aku mati, kau beli saham aku. Kau mati, aku beli saham kau. Mechanism to value cara macam ni. Okay. Because we make the agreement now, mati tak tahu bila lagi. So we can appoint our accountant to come up with the value for us. But in the meanwhile, we have to agree on a mechanism to value and how to fund. How to fund in such a way that everybody is covered. So we must agree on the valuation, we must agree on the funding mechanism, we must agree what happens when a trigger event, bila berlaku kematian. So these are the documents which is involved, particularly kalau berlaku kematian atas non-family business. You must have a buy-sell agreement, right? Now, there must be a funding mechanism. Takaful is the best, it's the cheapest form of funding. Now, again, timbul, what happens if a shareholder is not insurable? Dia sakit, dia ada penyakit. Takaful company pun tak nak insure. Then there must be a funding mechanism. Now, power of attorney we can give to sign shares dan sebagainya, but itu all that must be stated in the buy-sell agreement. And the trust deed, you have to appoint a trustee. Kalau kita ambil takaful, we assign the trust deed to assign the money to the trustee company, right? Okay, that's a question. When do you suggest at which state of the company shareholders should make such buy-sell agreement? Interesting question. When you know the company ada nilai, ada value, then you should do it. If the company is still neither here nor there. That's why I kata kita sama shareholder ni, kita kena tahu kalau kita mati ni berapa nilai company ni. Kita punya pedak 2 juta berapa, right? Should it be revised annually? Of course. If the value keeps increasing every year, dapat projek bagus punya, of course the value will increase because the profits will increase. The value of the company is subject to the profit that it make every year. Satu, dua. Ini satu lagi isu ialah dividends. You must declare dividends, kan? Again, some people kalau board tak approve, shareholder pun tak minta, it doesn't declare. Now, this is a buy-sell agreement to buy and sell, and then these are all the related documents to buy and sell. Tapi kita kena faham, kalau kita tak buat benda macam ni, apa default dia? Sekarang dia baru baca, besok mati. Tak sempat pun buat agreement, nilai pun tak tahu. Well, the surviving shareholder got no money to buy. So, saham saya meninggal, saham saya 1 juta, will go as harta pusaka. Nilai, boleh carilah nilai. If worst case scenario, you take the par value, 1 million. Nak bahagikan harta pusaka macam mana? Can I sell can my family or my waris sell the shares so that they can settle my debts? Who's going to buy? Only the surviving shareholder, unless there's someone who is interested to buy, but everything must get the consent. That's why the surviving shareholder is very important. Kita buat perjanjian ini supaya it's clear in forward what's going to happen. Kita tak tahu siapa mati dulu ni. Now, the company must have value lah. If the company problem, saya kata because nak buat semua ni pun ada cost, nak buat takaful pun the company is expected to pay. So, if the company is not making money, no purpose doing it. Tutup je lah syarikat bila mati, tak ada makna punya. Or you just buy. Now, I can quote you an example. What happened? This one is in the year 1900s. 1990s ni, it was a good time for everybody. Really, it was a good time. Kalau siapa yang ingat masa tu IPO tu, yang masuk IPO, masuk saham tu, saya boleh beli TNB shares, kita masuk IPO. White form je, bukan pink form pun. Masuk RM4, keluar RM10, you make 6,000 per lot. Kau ada 10 lot, 60,000. Easy money sangat-sangat. Right? Those were the good days. Right, where by that time siapa yang jadi remiser tu, lawyer pun berhenti jadi remiser, buat berniaga sebulan boleh beli BMW 3 Series cash in the 90s. Then what happened? 1997 came, everybody hit a brick wall. For those who don't save money, lost. The remiser yang aku cakap tadi, yang beli cash tu habis. Dia punya klien tak bayar, dia pun lost license, jual nasi lemak tepi jalan, bawa kereta potong buruk, macam tu. This is real lah. Ini bukan hypothetical punya case, right? So balik pada cerita kita ni, when should you do a buy sell? When the company has value and you realize that you can go anytime. More so masa-masa COVID ni, anybody can go anytime. So buatlah. It's subject to cash flow, company ada duit banyak mana kita nak buat semua ni. But the planning has got to start now. If you realize if you realize that you can go anytime and the problem will surface after you go. So buatlah perencanaan yang sebaiknya. Kalau kata nak buat macam mana, duit semua tak ada, carilah duit dulu. Make the company survive first, then only you talk. Otherwise, you cakap buat, duit tak ada makna juga. But planning is better than not planning. Kalau kata kita tak ada duit, tak plan langsung, problem juga. Kan? Itulah kata orang ni takut nak berniaga. Takut masalah semua ni. Orang yang jadi usahawan, ni entrepreneur, bukan calang-calang punya orang. Dia kena sanggup berhutang, dia kena sanggup buat ni, dia kena sanggup sacrifice. Right? At the end of the day, we're not even sure whether the business is going to be profitable or not. Nak bagi kat anak pun belum tentu lagi anak nak. Dia kata, I see you work like this, I also don't want to work like this. I want to have a life. I want to have a life. Itu dia. Orang lain ni kerja sampai Ahad ni, bekerja lah Ahad ni kan. Ni Sherry. Okay, bukan bekerja. But that's why entrepreneurs must have passion in their business. Otherwise, they will not survive. Untung tak untung tu different matter. Nak survive tu, resilient tu, you kena suka apa yang you buat. At the end of the day, you suka tu, you balik kepada value creation. To me, being in business is about value creation, whereby you have to create value, finding solution kepada orang yang memerlukannya. That's why as a lawyer, I tell my junior lawyers, you are not just a lawyer who reads the law. You find a solution. Macam doktor ni, you panggil obat. Kalau obat tu mujarab, orang tu sihat, they say thank you. But you go to a lawyer and you give them a solution which they don't appreciate or they don't see the solution. Dia kata, buat apa saya bayar duit kat lawyer? Masalah saya tak selesai. So in any business, it's about value creation. Right? That people pay us and say thank you for helping me. Macam tu kita nak. Dah lah dia bayar dekat kita, dia terima kasih kat kita lagi. Lain dia kata dia bayar kat kita, I don't know what I'm paying you for, you know. You charge so high, you're not giving me any solution. I don't know what. Kita pun sakit hati dengan macam tu. So in any business, so the business must be successful. When is a good time? Kalau kita tengok kita punya entrepreneur journey tadi, 10 tahun ke atas lah. But it doesn't mean that you cannot plan. It doesn't mean that you cannot cover your debts. Kalau you ambil hutang, cover it, because kita tak tahu how we're going to go, when we're going to go. Itu maksudnya. So, buy-sell agreement ni penting. Itu I cakap dua je. Kalau lebih pada 3, 4 tu, there must be shareholders agreement. And then every delivery must do a listing of private assets and then their business asset, berapa company dia ada dan sebagainya. Kan? Kalau dormant company tu, tak sakira lah. Let's say lah. Company must be making money. And one indication of making money is it pays dividends. Apa maksud dividend? Okay. Dividend ni kalau kita tengok shareholder ni sebagai investor. Kalau I invest 100,000 into ASB atau haji, I get returns of investment. Duduk kat situ dapat. Kalau I put in a company, at least I must get that amount, if not more, because the risk is higher. Kalau I masuk duit dalam syarikat and I don't get the returns, what's the whole purpose of going inside the company as an investor? Okay, then you'll be asking, company ni buat apa? Okay, kita sendiri dalam tu kita tahulah. If you are yourself put your own money, you yourself on the board, you decide apa hala tuju and policies of business you want to do, and you are also running the business as top management, then you will know where your money went to. Alright. So the other one is family-owned business. Again, family-owned business ni dengan non-family-owned business. Katakan saya ni kalau tadi non-family is no one has majority. So bila mati tu, kita expect the surviving shareholder to buy. In a family business, the family owns the majority, either 100% or majority. Mungkin dia own 60%, but majority. Kalau ada shareholder yang lain, katakan ada 60%, lepas tu ada 4 other shareholders, 10% each. Kalau yang 10% shareholder mati, the majority, the family will buy. Tetapi kalau family, maknanya the owner tu meninggal, it will go down to the family because they are majority. So there is different repercussions kalau in family and non-family. Right? they will buy those young minority shareholder. Tetapi kalau berlaku kematian atas member of the family who owns the shares, then the family will continue owning. Then the question is who runs the company. So kalau kita tengok what are the documents involved, we're talking about a trust deed, we're talking about a family charter. Apa itu family charter? Family charter ni ialah family about family governance. It is the rules and regulation about the family, how the family governs the family business. I give you an example. This is a family business. I own family business and I have 4 children. Tetapi yang dalam bisnes tu 2 orang saja. Yang 2 orang lagi not in the business. Okay. So masa I am doing the business, right? Bila I am doing the business, I don't declare dividends because I know what profit I'm making and I don't want to pay tax. So what I do here is I create expenses. I minimize the tax, right? Because I don't show profit. Left pocket, right pocket. I tak tipu siapa-siapa pun. Tak ada siapa boleh complain pun. I punya company. But when it gets to the second generation, it's different. The second generation, only 2 people are in the business. 2 people are shareholders. So katakanlah kita bagi saham tu ke anak-anak kita 4 orang ni, I give. Before I die, I hibah. So they get 25% each. But 2 in the business own 25% each. The other 2 in the business own 25% but not in the business. Now, if they don't declare dividends, orang yang not in the business tak ada dapat apa-apa. Orang yang in the business, dia dapat gaji. Dan dia bagi gaji dia naik. Every year naik by 20%. So, tak sempat buat profit pun. Expenses are increasing all the time. So, akan timbul masalah. Orang yang bukan dalam bisnes kata, apa manfaat aku jadi shareholder when there is no profit or no dividends? So, this will create unhappiness or potential conflict. Then we get to the 3rd generation yang akan masuk most probably is anak 2 orang yang dalam bisnes tu. Dan dia akan control. So these are the issues that is going to. So we need a family charter to make sure this thing does not happen and what happens if there is a conflict within the family. So kita cakap tentang juga family dividend investment protocol. Bila cakap dividend ni, how important is it if the company is making money for you to declare dividend? Because that is the link between investment and returns. Masa you ni, you tak kisahlah duit you masuk poket kiri, poket kanan, as long as it's not illegal, aku tak tipu siapa-siapa, the taxman knows what I am doing. Tetapi second generation, they cannot do this. Because if the 2 children in the business does this, orang lain yang ada shareholder kat luar akan tanya. There's no transparency. Right? And then you have the family office context. Dia kata kalau ada investment yang lebih, duit yang lebih, how do you reinvest? Itu yang cakap tentang family war chest, sama juga situ. Okay, Police, why don't we take a break, 10-minute break for people to think about whatever that we have spoken. Kalau ada yang soalan-soalan nak tulis dalam itu ke apa ke, or ready to ask questions, then we can go from there. Can we take a 10-minute break?
Okay, kita stop 11.40, kita akan sambung semula 11.50.
Okay.
Kita go for short break.
Alright.
Siapa-siapa nak tanya boleh tinggalkan soalan dalam chat, nanti Dr. Aziz akan jawab lah.
Alright. Okay, Assalamualaikum semula. Kita jumpa balik. There's some questions here. Saya akan cuba jawabkanlah sambil-sambil dah itu, then we can go on because semua soalan ni relevan pada benda yang saya bercakap. So it's good to ask so that we have a better understanding. Okay, satu soalan. Bila cakap tentang when should make buy sell agreement tu, bila company tu dah ada nilai lah to me, and it is a profitable company, yeah, and yes, it should be revised annually because the value may change, and it's also subject to the cash flow of the company because the funding mechanism is through takaful. So there will be expenses that need to be paid by the company to make sure that benda ni is taken care of. Okay, question, apa beza family trust dengan family charter? Pada siapa yang faham konsep trust ni, trust ni is a English law concept. Ada juga dia punya persamaan dengan wakaf. Okay, kalau kita cakap tentang family trust and family wakaf, this is what I'm trying to do when I bring in the wakaf corporate perniagaan waris ni. Konsep dia lebih sama. You lock in the asset and you take the benefit. Dalam konteks trust, dia tidak ada distribution, dia lock into the trust. There will be distribution at the time when the trust expire. Okay, kalau kita tengok simple trust lah, kita jangan cakap tentang family trust lah. Kita cakap ada orang ni dia nak bagi ke anak dia bawah umur, anak dia kecil lagi. Okay, suddenly dia doktor kata dia kena cancer. Okay, anak dia kecil-kecil bawah umur lagi, so dia ada aset. We have to assume that the asset is free from encumbrance. Okay, so dia nak put into under a trust and then transfer to the children bila dia dah cukup umur. Katakan rumah yang dia duduk, katakan rumah tu pun dia dapat daripada harta pusaka dan dia tak nak benda tu dia dapat harta pusaka daripada bapa dia lah, dan dia tak nak benda tu bercampur aduk dengan pusaka dia because suami dapat dan sebagainya. Talking about woman here, dia nak bagi ke anak-anak dia, so dia put under a trust and then the trust will be for the benefit of anak-anak dia in equal share when they are 18 years old. Okay, when they are 18 years old. Okay, ada juga orang kata upon my death. Kalau upon my death, dia dah tahu dia nak mati. Tetapi sebenarnya that takaful, that trust deed is not syariah compliant because you tidak boleh buat on the base of something that is gharar, yang belum tentu. Walaupun hakikatnya mati itu pasti, tetapi kerana mati itu belum tahu bila, so dalam konteks Islam that is an uncertainty. So it is not Sharia compliant to do a trust deed that says upon my death transfer this to my two children in equal share. Tetapi dari segi English law, it is valid. So apa berlaku? Yang ini tanggung sendirilah. Kita hanya boleh kata it is not Sharia compliant. Supaya juga bila kita kata orang nak ambil Islamic banking dengan non-Islamic banking, dan Islamic banking, non-Islamic banking is not Sharia compliant, you buat juga. Well, you answer for it hereafter lah. Kita dah tahu dah semua dah. So similarly pun macam tu juga. Tetapi kalau you letak bila anak-anak cukup umur 18 years old, then it's Sharia compliant. You may still be alive at that time. So persoalan timbul here, before I talk about beza dengan family charter, you kena faham what is a trust. So let me just, now we're talking about trust yang simple tanah, then we talk about trust yang saham. Okay, so tadi tanah, you just want to give a house and then it is transferred to the children when they are 18 years old. Persoalan sekarang ni, I think there was also a question here, who should you appoint as trustee? Who should you appoint as trustee, all right, in the event of your death? Okay, here you must understand the concept of trust. Trust ni dia ada tiga. Dia ada settlor, orang yang create the trust. Settlor, S-E-T-T-L-O-R. Dia, kenapa settlor ni? Kenapa? Because dia buat a settlement. S-E-T-T-L-E-M-E-N-T. Settlement. This is a legal term. A person who makes a settlement is known as a settlor. So settlement is actually a trust lah. So dia settle the property to a trustee in favor of the beneficiary. And that's how you describe it. Okay, a simple trust deed. Yeah. So kalau dalam konteks apa yang saya cakap tadi ialah dia nak bagi tanah dia kepada anak dia 2 orang. Soalan kita sekarang ni, dia nak bagi for the benefit of anak-anak dia who is going to be the trustee to make sure that it gets transferred. So here there are a few choices, yeah, and it all depends on what is the best for you and the cost that you're willing to pay. Okay, satu ialah kalau nak paling murah, you declare yourself as a trustee. Okay, but we assume that tanah ni, rumah ni, the subject matter of the trust ni must be free from encumbrance. If it's not free from encumbrance, technically you have to get consent from the incumbent or the chargee lah kalau bahasa berhutang, the bank. So you actually, because you have to transfer the asset to the trustee, and if it's still charged, then it's transfer subject to charge. Now legally it can be done, tetapi bank kita ni they are very reluctant to give consent to anything which they think may affect their charge. So we assume kalau siapa yang nak buat trust ni, dia tidak ada hutang, free from encumbrance. Okay, persoalan kita ni, siapa nak jadi trustee? So yang paling mudah, paling murah, kita declare diri kita sebagai trustee. Ya, saya A, Aziz, okay, declare saya sebagai trustee for the benefit of 2 children. So transfer tu, buat trust deed, lepas tu saya transfer nama saya kepada diri saya sebagai trustee, which is 2 different legal personalities. Saya sebagai diri saya dan Aziz Hassan sebagai trustee is 2 different. So bila berlaku kematian, harta itu tidak menjadi harta pusaka. And ramai orang yang buat, especially orang yang ada anak perempuan saja, ya, dia tak nak menjadi keluarga, tu dia buat trust. So the question is, who is the trustee? So one is, kita lantik diri kita, A kepada A as trustee. So question here is, kalau kita mati sebelum trigger event, which is 18 years old tu, anak kita cukup umur dan kita tahu kalau kita kena kanser dan kita doktor pun dah cakap you only got maximum 1 year to live. So who do you appoint? So kalau kita nak dari segi cost, you lantik diri kita, because then you create the trust immediately. The question here is what happens when you die, when the trustee dies. Bila kita dah transfer atas nama trustee, walaupun diri kita, harta itu tidak menjadi harta pusaka kerana nama atas grant itu ialah Aziz Hassan sebagai trustee, bukan Aziz Hassan lagi dah. Right? So as trustee, so tetapi bila Aziz Hassan itu meninggal, trustee pun meninggal kan? So who is going to take over? So dalam trust deed kita boleh letak gantian dia, substitute trustee siapa. Okey, kita nak letak siapa-siapa. Yang penting ni trustee ni orang yang amanah. Keduanya, orang yang sanggup ambil tanggungjawab. Ni serupa macam wasi tu juga, yang kita lantik untuk melaksana ataupun mentadbir harta pusaka. So kalau kita tak nak menyusahkan, kalau kita nak lantik orang yang kita lantik sebagai wasi, orang itulah kita lantik sebagai pemegang amanah pun boleh juga. And if it so happen that dia a trustee company, all the better, because dia tahu tanggungjawab sebagai pemegang amanah. The issue is cost, because trustee companies charge. Bila dia create a trust, dia charge. Kalau you buat sendiri pun, you bagi kat lawyer pun, dia charge juga. But there are the costs, stamp duty cost, then there will be other costs, which what I'm trying to say without going deeper here is, kalau kita lantik diri kita sendiri, cost dia lagi rendah daripada kalau kita lantik trustee company. Tetapi kalau trustee company, dia tidak perlu untuk gantilah, because trustee company tak boleh mati. So kalau kita lantik orang yang diri kita, that is the cheapest way. Okay. So yang penting kriteria ialah orang tu amanah, dan kalau diri kita mestilah kita amanahkan pada apa yang kita nak buat, dan sanggup ambil tanggungjawab dan tahu mentadbir. Super, this is the same criteria if you want to lantik a wasi for your wasiat. Alright. The other one is a trustee company. Ataupun kalau you tak nak lantik diri you lantik individu. Tapi individu tu mati, you must have a substitute trustee ganti. Kalau you tidak ada substitute trustee, orang yang menjadi pentadbir pesaka akan ganti sebagai trustee. Persoalan sama dia sanggup ambil tanggungjawab ataupun tidak. So one is individual, either yourself ataupun individu yang you trust. Kedua is a board of trustees. Kalau you boleh ada more than one, you ambil 2. So that seorang mati, masih ada trustee. Dan you ada dalam trust deed tu macam mana nak gantikan, kriteria orang yang nak ganti. Tetapi orang yang nak jadi board trustee ni bukan calang-calang lah. Tanggungjawab ni berat. Dan kalau kita ada sahabat, selalunya macam ni lah. Kalau kita buat untuk dia, dia buat untuk kita. Kita jadi trustee untuk dia punya trust, dia jadi trustee untuk kita punya trust. Bolehlah macam tu. but you must understand the responsibility, right? So trust can be individual trustees, it can be more than one individual trustee, maybe board of trustees, ataupun it can be a corporate trustee, syarikat pemegang amanah. Okay, so that is what a trust is all about. Now, tadi kita cakap pasal tanah, now we're talking about family trust dalam konteks business. So again, the shares are put under a trust. Now, the difference between a business and tanah tadi, tanah tu tak ada apa nak buat. Kalau rosak beki, kalau kosong sewa, kutip sewa, kalau nak disewakan, kalau orang duduk dalam tu, just make sure that it goes. But a business, you must manage. So the question here is, what is the relationship of the trustee which owns the shares? Okay, now owns the shares. Kita ingat balik tadi, who is the shareholder, who is on the board, who is managing. So ganti shareholder tu trust. In this case, if it's a trustee company, then it's a trustee company. So they must have some what you call oversight. Dia kena ada some sort of control over the board, because dia yang technically owner yang lantik siapa board yang lantik siapa management. So it's the trustee company. So kita sebagai orang yang buat trust deed tu, kita kena ada arrangement dengan trustee company. And this is where the family charter comes in. Apa itu family charter? Family charter is just rules and regulations, right, which is done up masa patriarch tu, masa founder tu, dia buat semua ni, dan dia create. One of the things that I suggest doing is having a family council. Family council ni will make decision. Gantinya orang yang meninggal tu, family council akan buat satu keputusan. Jadi ada struktur macam mana nak buat keputusan. It's all about making decisions on how the company is going to be run. Who is going to be the CEO of the company? Is it going to be family member or are you going to be professionalized? Right? Kalau anak-anak not interested, you professionalize. Kalau semua not interested, or what happens, you want to go for listing, then you sell, then you become a holding company. So, balik pada soalan, what is the difference between, okay, soalan tu, what is the difference? Apa bezanya family trust and family charter? Family trust ni, trust deed, it is a legal document per se. Family charter ni, dia boleh jadi legal document dan dia boleh jadi bukan legal document. It depends on the family. Kebanyakannya bukan legal document kerana dia hanya menyatakan family council tu, siapa dalam family council. Lepas tu, one of the things that they will say is apa hak dan tanggungjawab family dalam konteks family business. That's why one of the things yang I akan cadangkan, there must be a dividend policy. If you want to do this multi-generational trust, you must have a dividend policy. Dan wakaf pun macam tu juga. Nak sustain a wakaf, dia kena ada duit yang pergi ke wakaf, because yang nak infak tu duit daripada dividen. Right? So again, wakaf, konsep wakaf ni benda yang bawa manfaat. Kalau you wakafkan water cooler dekat masjid, selagi orang minum air, you dapatlah pahala. You wakafkan Quran, you wakafkan sejadah dekat masjid, selagi orang gunakan itu, adalah pahalanya. Tetapi maaf cakaplah, kalau you wakafkan tanah dengan tengah-tengah hutan, dan orang pun tak tahu kat mana, tanah pun tak dimajukan, siapa yang dapat manfaat? Pahala apa yang you akan dapat? Dari segi konsepnya you akan dapat, but when there is nobody benefiting directly from your wakaf asset, you don't benefit. Tu pada saya lah, okay, I stand corrected here. Itu saya bukan orang yang syariah pun, tapi konsepnya macam tu ya. Maknanya pahala berkaitan berdasarkan manfaat, is continuing manfaat kepada orang yang boleh can take benefit lah. Maksud saya di situ. Jadi balik ke cerita kita, apa itu family charter? Family charter is just a document, family constitution, family charter, piagam keluarga. One of the most important is the family charter. Siapa yang buat keputusan di dalam keluarga? So kalau dulu bapa dia, dan the second generation, okay, kita ada berapa orang anak? Kita ada 10 orang anak. 10 orang akan buat keputusan, dan kita ada, okay, ada yang kena majority. Is it special majority 75% or simple majority 51% dan sebagainya. Ataupun tidak perlu majority as long as no objection. So macam mana keputusan nak buat tu, the family council will decide. Lepas tu apa benefit? Benefit dari segi dividen. Kalau ada dividen, macam mana pembahagian dia. Dan one of the things yang ada dalam family charter ialah family privileges. Ini we are talking about a profitable company and sustainable to the more generation. Selalu saya kata cover education, bagi scholarship ke, medical, and then death, birth, ada anak dapat anak, whatever you think that can benefit the family, you go through family privileges. That is going to be in the family charter. Right? Family charter is a family document. Sama ada benda tu legal or not, it's up to the family. Pada saya, better not to be legal, because once you make it legal, dia boleh saman di mahkamah. Bila saman di mahkamah, benda yang private and confidential pun akan keluar di mahkamah. Kalau dia bukan legal document, dia tak boleh bawa. Lagipun ownership bukan atas nama siapa-siapa pun. Dia atas nama trust ataupun wakaf, in the sense kalau kita nak buat wakaf. Okay, so that's as much. So siapa yang tanya di sini, Gina, so yeah, you can ask me more if you want to understand. So siapa yang kita nak lantik manage family trust and charter, can be family member or just third party. It can be a family member. Again, basicnya siapa yang 3 kriteria tadi. 1, amanah. 2 is sanggup ambil tanggungjawab. Ketiga ialah orang yang tahu mentadbir. Tahu mentadbir ni at least some qualification lah. I mean, graduate lah, senang cakap. Sanggup mentadbir. Okay, amanah. This 3 is very important. It is in a trust position. Right? You want to put in trustee company pun boleh juga, because dia tak mati. Tetapi cost dia kena ambil kira. So these are the things that you need to take into account. Right? Can I do a buy and sell with my business competitors? How about funding mechanism? Business competitor. You faham tak apa business competitor ni? Business competitor ni bukan orang yang baik-baik lah. Maknanya ni kalau dalam business ni, if you are my competitor, if we are sharing 50-50 of the business, if I can kill you, I will kill you. So why is it that I want to do an agreement with business competitors? There are certain things that we don't want to tell our business competitors about. We have our business strategies, we have all that. When you do a buy-sell you kena faham, what are we buying and selling? It is the shareholder dalam satu syarikat. Kita terikat dengan satu syarikat. Business competitor kita bukan shareholder dalam company kita. Why should we do buy-sell with them? Unless. Ini soalan yang orang tanya saya. Sole proprietor. Sole proprietor ni dalam undang-undang, kalau dia mati, bisnes tutup tau. Okay? Sole proprietor ni boleh professional, lawyer pun dia sole proprietor, dia seorang je. Ataupun kedai dobi. Okay? Sole proprietor. So I always say this as a joke. Kalau sole proprietor dobi kan, you hantar baju yang baju dia kita ada baju kita bertukar je, kita hantar dobi, the next day kita nak hantar nak ambil tu dah mati, tutup bisnes tu. Baju kita pun tak tahu kat mana dah. How? So business is good dari segi apa? Okay, dia boleh earn berapa ribu sebulan dan sebagainya, tapi dia seorang pasal dia sole proprietor. Now, this question has been asked of me, you know where? In Singapore. I do consultancy work in Singapore. The Indian Muslims there are running a lot of business, all on sole proprietor. So dia orang tanya, I nak buat macam mana? I said, well, if you have a friendly competitor, this is where friendly competitor. You can do a buy-sell, friendly competitor in the event apa? We are in the same business, we are competitors, but friendly competitors. We buy each other's business. We not buy each other's shares here. You are a sole proprietor. Seorang you je. Dia pun seorang je. Lepas tu kita berjanji sama kita, if I die, you take over lah. Sial lah, baju orang ni apa kan. You pun dobi, I pun dobi kan. Tiba-tiba ya kan, dia pun hilang baju dia dan sebagainya. So it's a question of ambil tanggungjawab. So must be in the same business. Right? And then we are friendly because if you die, I take over your business. If I die, you take over. Lepas tu valuation tu, you bagilah my family whatever that you think is fair. Because nak buat funding macam ni susah because there is no insurable interest, you are talking about competitor. Kalau shareholder sama-sama ni, kita ada shareholders agreement. Yang ini ni agreement to buy and sell ni, kalau family tak nak jual, you tak boleh nak ikat. Because basically it's just an agreement to help each other. Right? funding mechanism pun susah lah di situ. Ambil masing-masing, ambil lah sendiri. Because you cannot relate it to the competitor. Right? Dia akan tak sabar nak saya mati cepat kalau lagu tu. Janganlah ambil pada orang nak doa you mati cepat. Kan? You take insurance kan, dia doa you mati cepat, dia untung. Having talk about this, I remember one story. Okay, just to share you. My late father dulu, dia meninggal 1985. So he had a business transaction with a friend of his where they bought a property together 50-50. And then they took a loan together. So basically dia beli 200,000 punya bangunan. So they paid 10,000 each and then they got 90% loan, 180,000 from a bank. Lepas tu along the way, the business yang dia nak buat tu, bangunan dalam tu tak jadi. So what he did was he told his friend, okay lah, you take over the building lah, you give me back my 10,000. So okay lah. So at that time, I bawa balik daripada overseas, and he told me this building, although under my name half share, under the company which owns, that time it was not a company, it was directly under his name. Yeah. So dia kata it's not mine anymore, I dah jual. So you just take note. So after that he died. And the property half share under my father's name. So kita kena buat tuntutan harta pusaka kerana harta si mati, harta arwah untuk orang lain. Maknanya harta orang atas nama si mati. Gitu. So I pun okay lah, dia dah cakap dah, tak ada mahal lah kan. So the guy also came and say, oh this one your father has sold to me, so no more his. Ya, okay, dia dah jual. Isu yang timbul ialah bercakap tentang takaful ni, because there was takaful. And when my father died, takaful paid towards the bank loan 90%. So the loan was 180,000. 90,000 got paid. So when he came to me, he said, dia kata, Cik Aziz, I appoint a lawyer, you transfer the property to me lah. You pentadbir kan, you transfer the property. I said, okay. So I pun tak ada hal lah, because kita tak tuntut apa, memang you punya. Okay. Then I found out that he benefited by 90,000. So I tanya dia balik, I kata, oh, bank bayar apa ni, takaful bayar? I said, yes, takaful paid. Okay, I said, look, legally I have got no queries, but I nak tanya you, uncle lah panggil uncle. My father mati, tapi you untung. Dia kata, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm going to repeat that. My father mati, kita tak tuntut apa dari you, because dia pun dah cakap. Tapi you untung because your loan got reduced by 90,000. Do you think that's fair? My father mati, you yang untung 90,000. So he looked at me and said, okay, I recognize that. So what do you want? I kata, benda ni bukan isu legal, tapi I emphasize, my father mati, you untung. So if you ask me what I want 50% whatever you untung, share lah yang tu. Then he said, okay, yeah, why not? So this is the point bila cakap mati tak mati di sini. My father mati, dia untung. So I minta pada orang tu, kalau dia tak bagi, tak boleh buat apa. Tapi pada I bagi dia betul-betul. My father mati, you untung. So sama macam ni lah. Dia doakan mati ke apa, wallahualam lah. Okay, just a story to share here. Apa lagi soalan di sini? Outside to this talk, what happens to holding company upon the death is the same as sedang berhad. Holding company is a sedang berhad. Right? Holding company means this. Sometimes some people got more than one business, so they got each one business in each company, and then they have a holding company having shares in a few operating companies. So if the shares of the holding company is at the top, apa yang kita cakap ni company, so it goes down to the bottom, unless saham tu ada yang owned by holding company, ada yang owned by itu. So kalau you're talking about a buy-sell situation, this is a bit difficult. When you talk about a buy-sell situation, you talk about a funding mechanism. So if one of the shareholders is a corporate body, dia tak boleh mati. So di sini bila I cakap tadi case I dengan Datuk Sri, kalau dia, if you die I buy your share, if I die you buy your share, if I die you buy my share, if you die I buy your share. Dia corporate shareholder, dia tak boleh mati. So funding mechanism like, if I die you buy my share, but if you cannot die. So the agreement will have to be tailored in such a way that there can be a solution. It is not straightforward yang shareholder yang semua orang individu yang boleh mati. That is straightforward. So if it's a corporate body and the shareholding is all under company's name, then it will have to be done in a different way lah. And this is what I mean by we're talking about solutions. Okay, kita tak boleh kata everything fits everybody's case. Ini belum masuk cerita proxy lagi deh, kan? Okay, so I think ada orang pula tanya, uncle give you 45k, give the pesaka. I told my family, the uncle has donated 45,000 because he benefited, so he gave 45,000. Alhamdulillah. So everybody happy. So that is the answer lah. Okay, so go back to our slide.
Boleh tanya?
Boleh. Yes, Tuan Zahidi. Thank you for attending. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. I know you being my guru. So question that I have in mind, so I have to ask you lah.
Yes.
So I'm keen on the family business, Doctor.
Yeah.
Family business ni, one type is family business yang mana the children can run the family. The second type is family business that the children cannot run the company. Okay, for example,
cannot too because they don't have the expertise, is it?
Yes, for example, katakanlah yang cannot run by the family ni, contoh macam like yourself. So you're a lawyer. So Kamil tak boleh because Kamil is not a lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay. Second example is Dr. Hakim. Dr. Hakim ni is a doctor. Okay, dia buat sole proprietor. Dia buat klinik, and then none of the children are doctor. Yeah. Okay, Iqbal bukan doktor, Huda bukan doktor, so they cannot take over ni. Mungkin one of the solution is Huda dah kahwin dengan anak doktor, menantu dia boleh take over lah. That's dia punya planning lah. Okay, back to the question is that katakanlah yang family business ni, yang the children can take over. To be fair to everybody, is it okay? Maknanya, is it a wise advice for the family to create a family foundation? So the family foundation will own the business tadi. So whatever, maknanya, okay, now the owner of the business, the father, maknanya the father ni mungkin dah umur dia dah mungkin dah dekat-dekat pergilah leave the world. So he immediately transfer dia punya apa tu to the children, yang mana the children can take over, and then dia pegang as initially the children ni is the holding dia punya apa for the foundation of the family. So it will benefit the interest of the family. So is it the wise strategy to do?
There are few levels to discuss and analyze here. First, we're talking about a company yang tak ada expertise. Maknanya the family does not have the expertise. Okay, company you're talking about a business. Then you talk about professionals like me. I have no son. I have no children who are lawyers. So what happens? So let's talk about that professional setup. Okay, and then professional setup ni dia ada yang boleh corporatize, ada yang tak boleh corporatize. Macam doktor ni dia boleh corporatize. Dia boleh tak corporatize pun tak apa. But the issue is they can corporatize. And I understand that family doctors ni, they do not have to have a family member as a licensed practitioner. They can employ people. So they actually continue the clinic without having someone within their family, as long as there is a business arrangement. And I understand that there are some businesses like that. Dia bayar dekat doktor ni to use the license. So bagi gaji plus profit sharing. That's my understanding. As opposed to a lawyer tak boleh buat macam tu. Lawyer tu dia kena practice license dan dia kena in the business. So kalau tak ada orang anak yang jadi lawyer, that means dia tidak boleh sambung. So it cannot go to the children. Question now here is, dari segi harta pusaka macam mana? Okay, let me tell you what happened to me. My father was also a lawyer. So when my father passed away, his firm was Hassan and Kong Yam. Dia ada partner dengan orang lain. But his partnership was, there were 2 branches. So the whole branch was under my father. So the accountant who was doing the account, they valued the company for X thousand. Okay, and it became an item of harta pusaka, stated in the harta pusaka of my late father, Hassan bin Ishaq. And my adik-beradik told me, Aziz, you are the only lawyer in the family, so this one you have to take, because orang lain tak boleh ambil. And I pun tak boleh nak cakap apa lah. And there was a certain value and it was put under my share. Whether I agree with the value is one thing, whether I want to take is another thing, but the family said there's no other person who can take. So I have to take. So I pun tak nak bergaduh, I pun terima. But after 1 year, my father's partner decided to dissolve the firm. So I have to start all over again under my own name, Aziz Hassan & Co. Hassan & Co, my father punya, which I take over, pun dissolve. That means the value is not the same anymore because the entity has broken up. Tapi bila kita dah dapat macam ni, nak gaduh dengan adik-beradik pun tak ada makna juga. Kan? Pada dia dah bagi. Whatever lah. Kan? Okay, that's one scenario. Okay. The second scenario here is my scenario, where there is no children at all who are lawyers. So what happens to the firm? You nak kira macam mana harta pusaka tu? So the only way to continue is, of course, the firm has value, but it is only valuable to the person who knows the value. That means other lawyers. Orang lain tidak akan appreciate. So the firm must go to the surviving partners. That's why you have to have some sort of arrangement. I won't say buy-sell also, because nak kata, because dari segi partnership ni, the partnership law says when one party, one shareholder dies, one partner dies, the whole entity dissolves. Okay, unless there is an agreement otherwise. Right? So what happens in this, because I also have made a study of the lawyers with this, they have an arrangement with the existing partners that they will pay a certain amount to the family, where they eat lump sum over a period of time, and the shares will just be absorbed by the surviving partners. So macam tu. So harta pusaka, tapi value tu will be determined by the surviving shareholders because they are the ones who actually know what is the value. Okay, so itu satu cara ya, itu satu cara. But there is value. The question is, how do we value it? Orang yang dalam firm tu, because it depends on what is the existing business, what is the existing file, dia akan tahu. Orang lain tak tahu. Tapi kalau you kata the family is the mercy of the partners, yes. So that's why the partners, I have to talk to my partners and say, look, anybody can go anytime. Okay, I may be the eldest, but it doesn't mean that I go first. So what happens if you are a partner or not? So dalam firm pun dia ada 2 type of partners. I don't know whether there's other professional. There is equity partner, which is the one we do by ourselves. There's profit sharing partner. Profit sharing partner ni mati tak ada apa-apa. But one of the things that the firm can do is actually take takaful and pay off to the family, and then that becomes the price that they take over. That's one issue. Okay, itu untuk professionals yang tidak boleh corporatize ya. Yang boleh corporatize ni, they go into a buy-sell situation, which what I'm suggesting tadi. Right? So the difference is again for medical profession, dia boleh go into a collaboration with a doctor. Anak-beranak boleh jaga, they take care of finance, they take care of marketing, they can take care of everything else except that part dia gajikan lawyer. Doctor. So that is one arrangement. Having said this, how do we compare with other business where the question here is the children do not have the expertise to lead? They can do basic lah, but they don't have the expertise, the industry knowledge, the context. Okay, maknanya kalau you dalam business ni, you ada orang kanan lah, orang kanan, not even your children, because you nak train your children, it may take time. Okay, you are successful entrepreneur. For example, I give you the case of Tan Sri Said Mokhtar. He got married when he was 40 years old. He is 60 plus, anak dia baru habis universiti. For a child to take over existing business, paling kurang 10 years lah. Bukan saya cakap orang yang bawah 30 tak pandai, tetapi you're talking about the experience and the knowledge. At least 10 years, orang yang ready to lead 35. Lead be number 1. Okay, so here, kalau kita mati, the entrepreneur or the patriarch mati dulu, siapa nak sambung? This is where the involvement of the key person, a non-family member. So how do you tie this one down? You have seen cases where this young Chiku comes into the business, and then the senior guy says, I'm not going to take instructions to just Chiku, he doesn't know what he's talking about also, and he leaves. The whole business will collapse. The whole business will collapse. So there has got to be a mentoring position where in the event that the patriarch dies, then this person must mentor the anak ni and hand over when the time is right. The issue here is, how do you make sure this key person wants to stay on? Now, let me tell you, I have experience with Chinese people who did this when they want to retain key people. Orang yang bukan business owner, yang kerja dengan kita, our key person ni, dia ada dua jenis. Ada orang dia nak gaji je. As long as you pay me good gaji and you treat me nice, I will work for you until I retire. That's one. Okay? I will work. You treat me nice lah. Maknanya janganlah, kedik-kedik, marah apa. Treat me like a human being. I'm your employee. And then pay me what is market rate and a little bit more. They're happy. Okay? That's one. They are ready to be employee sampai pencen. That's one category. Ini macam orang Jepun lah. They work. The second category is people who look at the entrepreneur and say, I want to be like that person. He is my role model. So maknanya orang ni pun nak jadi usahawan. So macam mana dia nak jadi usahawan kalau dia continue to be in a employee punya position? So dia pun nak keluar. So one way is how do you get? Because you nak jadi bos sendiri ni, kenapa you nak jadi bos? Wah, you can make your own decision. Kalau setidak-tidak jadi bos pun, you are a shareholder. You are board director. Some companies don't allow employees to be like that. Pada dia, aku bayar gaji pun kau nasib baik lah. You don't, you can go. But if you really want to take care of this person and you know that this person is more than just an employee, how do you accommodate it? So one way here is you do what is called a golden handcuff. You buy insurance and then you put what, and I know this for a fact, they get 1 million if you work for 15 years and you cari orang nak ganti you before you leave, you get your 1 million. So the trigger is 15 years. So orang tu mati ke tak mati ke, you must work, then you get your pot of gold 1 million. This is called the golden handcuff. Okay, because orang tu kata aku naik gaji 10% pun, nobody is going to give me 1 million until when I'm 55 together with my EPF. Aku dah kaya lah. So that is money. Okay. The other one is dia ni nak saham juga. He wants to feel that I am also a shareholder. So some Chinese companies, what they do is they create another category of shares, class A, class B shares. So the existing family member, class A shares. Class B shares is for the employee. Okay, class B shares you've got 50%. Dividend ada juga. 50% dividend of class A shares. They can be appointed board member. So dia pun megah lah, dia pun board member, dia pun shareholder. Tetapi no voting rights. That's how they control the people. And because of that, then they cannot leave. And then you make sure that they take care of your family and go on from there. Right? And there are even some people who sell shares with a buyback option. Kalau orang tu mati, kita beli balik pasal kita bagi saham. Dia tak payah keluar duit, kita tolak pada bonus tiap-tiap tahun. So this is the way you make sure that your senior people, your existing key people stay on in the business and take care of your family. And you must make sure that when they go, they train other people to take care of their position, and the mentoring is important. So bila kita cakap macam ni, you must have your strategy knowing. Ni cakap pasal anak lah ya. Kamil, you dengar elok-elok ya Kamil. My son is there. Anak ni ada 3 jenis. Kita business owner ya. Anak ada 3 jenis. Ada anak capable, not interested. Kita panggil dia masuk, no, that ayah, I don't want to be in your business. I got my own plan. Dia capable, kita tahu, kita bawa dia masuk, he will make this a success. Right? Seorang lagi anak interested but not capable. Not number one material. Anak kita, company kita, tapi cannot lead. Kita tahulah anak kita. The third category is anak yang not interested, not capable, tapi ada sense of entitlement. Dia rasa bapa dia has to give them a free lunch. Pasal bapa aku kaya. So, apa nak buat kekayaan? Nak bagi aku untuk hidup. Buat apa aku kerja, bapa boleh bagi 10,000 sebulan. So, you need to know who is going to continue and who is going to make sure your business sustain the profit so that dia boleh benefit the other wider family members. Right? So, bila cakap pasal foundation tadi, you talk about foundation, yayasan. This is just a structure. You can use a trust structure, you can use yayasan structure. But when I talk about yayasan foundation, it's only in Labuan where you can take care of your family. Don't use a yayasan like some people do for personal business. Yayasan kat Malaysia ni only for charity. Jangan gunakan duit yayasan untuk bayar kredit kad sendiri. Faham ke tidak? So you must know the structure that we want to go into. You want to benefit. Okay, is it a trust structure? Wakaf structure, I'm trying to make it similar to a trust structure, but it all depends on the Agama Islam, whether they buy into this idea or not. Because as opposed to wakaf yang kita bagi tanah, kita bagi cash, is a passive wakaf. This wakaf, I nak buat wakaf of a family business, is an active wakaf. Because it is an existing business that is really making money, that is sustainable, because the profit from the business you can give to your family balik, and part of it is to infak. But to do this wakaf, Majlis Islam must understand that they are taking over the wheel of a moving train. Dia bukan macam tanah yang kosong, tak buat apa pun, tak pergi mana-mana. So, family business ni pula, kalau dia nak wakaf, dia kata, Agama Islam ni masukkan nak bisnes aku, kan take over, they try to control everything. So, again, the family business nak buat structure ni, kalau aku bawa trustee, I give them the legal control macam mana. Kalau aku buat wakaf macam mana. And then want to make sure the business is sustained and continue. So these are all the challenges of a family business. Alright. Ada lagi ke? Kita ni cakap, I hope everybody here understands, because bila kita cakap what happened when shareholder dies, it can cover anything and everything. Apa yang kita cakap di sini ialah issue of fragmentation. Kalau kita bagi ke anak-anak, ada orang dia tak pernah fikir, tak payah faraid lah, I give to my children equal shares, tak ikut lelaki perempuan. That's that. And then pada dia dah selesai masalah dia, but the problem is going to come the second, third generation, because not all the children are in the business. Lepas tu dari segi dividend, if there's no dividend policy, those not in the business will not benefit. Okay, so back to our screen. So time pun dah 12:30. We'll just finish the slide and then we can go to the other question. So now we are talking about what is succession planning. So succession planning ni ada dua, ownership succession and management succession. Oh, there's a soalan here, Cam. Check and balance and audit. It's all about the people who you appoint. You must appoint people who are trustworthy. Tetapi start with, you must make sure the transparency. Kita buat bisnes sekarang, kita tak transparent pun tak apalah, kita bukan tipu siapa-siapa. Tetapi bila you nak buat this sort of succession planning, there cannot be 3 accounts. There can only be 1 account, and you have to declare a dividend policy. And then you have to pay tax. Buat proper lah, biar semua orang faham. Tak ada selindung-selindung. Everything is transparent. If the company is profitable, why not do it properly? Ni ramai orang yang buat selindung-selindung ni kan. Orang yang trying to cut corners dan sebagainya. At the end of the day, you tengok sekarang ni, income tax now, LHDN is chasing everybody. Masa ni lah dia nak kejar kita untuk tax. Pasal dulu tak bayar, masa dia semua orang susah nak naik balik ni. Dia duk kejar duit pasal dia pun kuda kutip juga. And then you find out you have not been properly reporting. And then they say they tax you on certain things. But that's what being entrepreneur is all about. These are all the challenges. You nak complain dekat siapa? You choose your life to become entrepreneur. You have to accept all these challenges and do it the best way you can. All right? So what is succession planning? Succession planning, ownership and management. So ada orang tentang management succession. Okay? The whole issue about succession planning is the continuation of the business. Right? Continuation. That succession, ada orang panggil business continuity. Right? Succession planning is making sure that the business is sustained. So dalam konteks ownership dengan management, kalau tukar saham ownership pun, kalau management tu tak betul, the company is not going to continue making money, making profit, and cannot be sustained. Right? So it is a process of creating a continuation of business operation for future, taking into account occurrence of certain events. Occurrence of certain event, it can be death of a shareholder ataupun death of a key man. So how do you do succession? One is management succession, the other is ownership succession. Next, Kamil. So here we talk about succession here. Retirement, death, promotion dan sebagainya. Okay, next. How to plan succession. Okay, next. Okay, this one I cakap tadi. So when we talk about business owner, we talk about non-family business. You have two choices. Either you do a buy-sell arrangement between the shareholders, agree on the value, get the funding mechanism, or you just distribute and go from there. But like I say, it's no purpose having shares in a business if there is no policy on dividend payout. If everybody is alive and everybody gets gaji, and you say we don't pay tax, we might as well give bonus to everybody so that we don't show a profit, elok lah. Tapi bila you buat distribution, not everybody is in the business. Right? And then when you do distribution, kalau lah you director, managing director, that's why anak you masuk jadi managing director juga, all the other shareholders not going to agree because definitely dia tidak ada the qualification, the experience, and the networking that you would have, right? So distribution, it creates fragmentation, pecah lagi, okay? Then before death, after death, this is part of the process of pesaka. That's why I kata sebenarnya kalau ada orang yang boleh buat some sort of research yang 80 bilion harta pesaka, sebenarnya comprise of what? And then what are the issues? Is it pergaduhan keluarga ke apa ke? Maybe we should have a law if the pesaka is not settled after 10 years, the government can take over the asset. You know? Ataupun yalah, go to Baitul Mal, whatever, kalau itu. Then people will be more motivated to clear the pesaka. Cap it at 10 years. Nak bergaduh, everybody lose everything. I don't know, it's just a suggestion. You know, the government pun kena tengok juga kalau benda itu tak popular kan tukar kerajaan kan. Next. Okay, this one is a family-owned business. Family-owned ni, you have distribution or you have preservation. Distribution is one generation, preservation is multi-generation. And then you have distribution. This one is this is pesaka game lah, wasiat game, before death, after death. You have the shareholders agreement, you have the family charter also, you can have that. And then you can have family council, even under distribution. Okay, it all depends on the family. Ada orang just talking about this. Ada kawan, dia kata dia bukan business owner, tetapi she was on the board of a few public listed companies. Dia ada some investment worth a few million. Duit tu dia kata dia boleh bahagi, tetapi rumah dia ni dia nak buat turun-temurun. Macam mana nak buat? Dia nak rumah yang dia duduk ni worth couple of million, not to be subject to faraid, and want the family and the waris, makna cucu cicit, all that, to continue staying, having the use of the house. Macam mana nak buat? I said the only way is the trust structure. Then you have to put away in such a way that you have a family council to decide with the trustee. So the trustee just pegang. So again, is it going to be a trust company yang pegang, or is it going to be individual trustee yang pegang? That one decision will have to be made. Tetapi kalau dalam konteks rumah pesaka turun-temurun di sini, You kan ada duit untuk maintain tu rumah tu. You tak ada boleh bagi rumah tu because nobody is going to maintain the house if something happens, right? And then preservation, family charter or family constitution. I put there family trust, family wakaf, family council, all that is something to be talked about, to be thought about. So just in this context, maybe some of you are also from Kampung Baru. How do we do perancangan untuk Kampung Baru in such a way that the value of the asset can be benefited and economic development can be do. So one of the things that I have suggested is actually corporatize. Jangan pegang atas nama personal because yang menjadi masalahnya bila harta pesaka ni bila mati ada 50 nama dalam grant, 20 dah mati, 20 hidup. Bila orang yang dah mati itu dapat suap kuasa, yang hidup pula dah mati. So in the end dia macam tempayan tiris, you will never finish. But if you corporatize the land and then you just get the shares, then it's still a bit different, but very sensitive issue. Okay, next. Now these are among the legal documents that is involved. Of course, wasiat is important, take into account all this. But kita kena faham konsep wasiat ni. Wasiat is a document which appoints a wasi for the purposes of taking instructions, whatever that needs to be done as long as syariah compliant. Syariah compliant. Kalau wasiat mengatakan nak bagi sekian-sekian, kalau faraid lain, kalau waris tak setuju, then it cannot be carried out. So kita kena faham wasiat ni macam mana. Wasiat pesanan ke, wasiat 1/3 ke, and all that, and the syariah issues will have to come in. Buy-sell agreement is a shareholders agreement between the shareholders of a company. This one is a sedia berhad. Kalau partners boleh buat juga, tapi dia lain sikit. Buy-sell agreement yang I'm talking about ni for sedia berhad. You have a trust deed. This is under trust. Revocable power of attorney gives the power to kalau kita bagi kat trustee, for example, in the context of buy-sell, kita bagi irrevocable power of attorney to the trustee so that they can transfer the shares of the company to the surviving shareholders. And normally funding mechanism ni kita assign or kita hibah kepada trustee company so that they are the ones who actually transact everything upon death. So takaful is important. Each company will have its own documents. Family charter, rules of family governance, most importantly, setting up family council. Wakaf deed, if it's applicable. Family dividend and investment protocol is reinvesting the family wealth so that it grows. So these are the relevant documents. So next, I think that's the end of it. Yes, that's the end of it. So I open to questions lah. Kalau ada masa lagi, maybe 10-15 minutes sampai pukul 1.
Okay, Doktor. Ada satu soalan ni dari Puan Gina. Doktor, so can there also be a buy-share clause in the partnership agreement?
Buy-sell clause in the partnership agreement. As I said lah, the difference between partnership dengan sedia berhad ni dia SSM tau. Dia SSM, the shares are registered. In a partnership ni, the shares are not registered. It's only the partners that are doing. You can have a buy-sell agreement, right? And it also depends on whether, yalah, it's not so straightforward lah. To me, buy-sell of a partnership ni dia tak boleh buat template. Dia kena tengok macam mana. For example, I have one architect firm that approached me. So dia ada partner ramai lah. So I tanya, you kira partner you kira macam mana in terms of equity? Dia kata, kita ni partner depend on project. Oh, okay. So kalau project partner tu jaga, semua duit we allocate to him, he's in charge of everything. Okay. So if he dies, what happen? Oh, his family will still get the bahagian. Tapi kena deduct a certain portion untuk orang yang sambung kerja dia. So if that is the arrangement, then we can put it down. So there is no hard and fast rule where partnership is concerned because there is no template lah. Kalau you kata buy-sell funding mechanism macam mana tu, how do you value? How do you value the partnership share? Kalau sedang berhad ni ada juga pedak capital dia, ada jugalah yang boleh value. But for a partnership it's not so easy. Of course the accountant can come up with any figure, but macam itulah. At the end of the day, it's a lot of discussion. The partners must agree on everything, and funding mechanism must be
Willing
considered.
buyer, willing seller jugalah.
Yes, everybody must agree. Everybody must agree.
Kalau tak ada agreement,
Tak ada agreement bukan bermaknanya tak ada written agreement, maknanya tak ada agreement. Dia setuju tapi tidak dituliskan dalam satu perjanjian written agreement. Kalau tak ada perjanjian langsung, okey, maknanya tak ada siapa yang fikir pasal mati, tiba-tiba mati seorang in a partnership. The firm will dissolve. The firm will dissolve. Lepas tu you angkutlah file, you angkutlah kursi meja. You start a new firm. So the goodwill is also gone.
Kalau ada agreement tapi dia discussion tu stagnant, nobody is willing to.
Depends. Kalau dalam masa semua orang hidup lagi bolehlah sambung and get what is the solution. Kalau mati seorang, as I said lah, the firm will be dissolved. Because kalau peringkat yang masih hidup pun tak boleh buat persetujuan, bila family masuk lagilah. Family masuk lagilah tak faham bahasa bisnes, lagilah nak tuntutan itu dan ini.
Okey. Ini Cik Kam ni, options of business exit or business succession. Ni soalan ke statement ni? Saya pun tak pasti ni. Tuan Kam dari Kausar. Okay, soalan saya, how about sebenarnya berhad yang ada satu director atau shareholder je? What do they have to do to ensure succession?
Now, since 2016, Companies Act that amend, there can be one director, one shareholder. Right? Okay, bila berlaku kematian, dia jadi harta pusaka. So, you first of all, you must remember management and shareholding lain, board director lain. So, bila orang tu shareholder, orang tu director dan dia ada manager katakan. Bila dia mati, the first thing that's important to know is check siapa sign. Kalau masuk duit tak boleh keluar, macam mana nak sustain? That's the first thing. Even nak jadi harta pusaka, pusaka take 6 months to 1 year to settle. How is the company going to sustain itself? Gaji, I mean, let's be frank lah, gaji staff kita. Sebulan bolehlah bertahan, 2 bulan boleh tahan, 3 bulan, dia pun ada komitmen juga. Dia nak tolong, dia sayang kat company pun, ada hak semuanya. Dia pun ada komitmen. So, minta maaf, just find another job. The whole company will collapse. So the issue when a person dies is in a company is siapa signatory. Assuming that it is a good company, duit masuk, duit ada dalam company. Kalau tak ada, then you need to get it mobilized so that there is a signatory. Otherwise, it will die. It will die. It's a good company, also it will die. So when there is the company, the cash flow is okay, ada orang boleh sign check, kalau mandate is given to someone you trust, that can continue while trying to resolve the shareholding issue, because it becomes harta pusaka. So persoalan di sini is bila shareholder mati, board of director mati, pasal dia seorang aja. Who is going to run the company? If there is a proper management, then who is going to sign the check? Kalau checking account tu, management have some control. Tapi kalau dia ada control, how do you know we can trust them? Itu isu juga. So the simple answer is there's going to be a problem lah. So walaupun kerajaan buat senang, one shareholder, one director, but at least you must have an alternate signatory for the account. Then the company can survive. Duit masuk pun boleh keluar. Kalau tidak duit masuk, tak boleh keluar. Assuming that duit ada lah. Kalau duit tak ada, memanglah tu lagi. If you are talking about a company that requires the shareholder to keep on funding to pay the gaji, memang habis kat situ ya. Okay.
So, sebenarnya kalau company yang satu director ni sebenarnya risky jugalah, sebab it's like
of course it's risky. Tetapi kerajaan nak buat senang, dia bagi orang untuk satu director, satu shareholder. But bila itu untuk start niaga senang. Kalau kes mati susah.
Just impression of being senang je.
Start memang senang. Oh, you don't need to have to. Kita boleh start je. Kita seorang-seorang boleh start, and it is a sediaan berhad. Selalunya seorang jadi sole proprietor, tapi kita ada sediaan berhad. But this assumes that the company, kalau cost of death ni macam itulah problem lah. Okay, ada soalan lagi tak?
Ada siapa yang tanya soalan lain?
Before we close, but just to share with you, the session yang saya buat ni is ongoing, because ini pun saya buat, saya testing hari Ahad. Kita pun buat dengan Dewan Perniagaan Islam Malaysia ni. We put to your members. I was told by siapa ni, Hanif, that 60 people registered, but Sunday mungkin lah. So maybe we take another day. I want to continue this at least once a month, so that the interest is cultivated, because sebenarnya benda macam ni soalan ada yang legal, ada yang bukan legal, ada yang dalam konteks financial planning, because involve pusaka, wasiat dan sebagainya. So I want to perpetuate this discussion. So ini dengan Dewan Perniagaan Islam Malaysia, but I will have tie up with other business organisation, business NGOs, and then orang lain ni, if you register through ACS, can can join the discussion and go from there, because apa yang saya cakap ni mungkin you cannot absorb, for those who do not have business background or legal background, cannot absorb in one session. Maybe you go over, and every time I talk ni mungkin I will emphasize a bit different depending on the question dan sebagainya. But to me, this is the kick-off, the starting point for us to first of all share our knowledge together, and to kick off this discussion about how to make sure that the business is sustainable, especially the good business lah. Yang bad business tu kita tak boleh buat apa lah. Memang hidup segan mati tak mahu. The shareholder or the founder dies, mati, tutup kedai, habis itu. Kan?
Saya agree, Doktor, sebab bagi saya sesi ni macam ni, ilmu macam ni jarang dikongsikan, dan untuk pagi ni memang sangat eye opener. Walaupun information overload juga. tapi memang sangat menarik lah, because kita selalu cerita pasal succession of harta, tapi kita jarang nak cerita succession of the business tu, macam mana nak mewariskan, lepas tu apa. Ni kita baru, Doktor baru sentuh sikit tentang succession mati kan, belum masuk yang macam mana nak settlekan harta yang atas nama orang.
Yang proxy tu semua. Orang tak fikir semua ni, then someone dies and then there's no record, there's no documents. Pecah lagi orang yang itu proxy, tahu tu orang ingat dia punya bini pula 2 orang, different families.
Banyak yang boleh kita boleh cover. So kalau boleh jadi monthly session tu is good lah. Dan video ni pun saya akan upload dekat kami punya YouTube channel. Dan siapa yang terlepas di situ boleh tengok balik lah.
What kalau boleh lah untuk ACS, we would ask for those contact for those who attended and registered with you, so that we can also pass out later on untuk apa-apa information, and then because I may have a separate session for just one for family business, one for non-family business, so that very focused. Today is just a starting point, eye opener yang kita cakap secara general what happens when a person shareholder dies. But I mean, it's just zero in on family business, death in family business, death in non-family business. What we should put in a shareholders agreement, what should be put into a family charter dan sebagainya. Kalau wakaf macam mana, soalan wakaf dengan trust macam mana. Then we go from there. I bukan kata I know everything, but I have the experience to actually share so that people have a better understanding of the problem, better understanding of the problem, so that then we can start thinking on how to find a solution. Whether it's a legal issue, whether it's an emotional issue, whether it's a business issue per se, go from there lah. Okay?
Knowing Dr. Aziz ni, dia ni orang yang tak kedekut dengan ilmu, so dia akan beritahu 100%. Kalau orang mengajar silat ni kadang-kadang macam Anwar Siddiq ya, dia orang kan. Dia ada jurus-jurus yang disimpan. Semua. Tapi Dr. Aziz ni dia ajar semua. Dia tak simpan apa-apa pun. So thank you very much for your project, dan pemahaman dia tu, saya ambil pemahaman dia. Contohnya saya just side a little bit. Contohnya pemahaman orang tentang kewasiat kepada waris. Ramai orang kata wasiat kepada waris tu sebagai beneficiary, dan katakanlah tidak ada orang yang contest, dan can be boleh berjalan lah. Tetapi kalau ada orang contest, so it come back to faraid. So doktor punya pemahaman lain yang saya setuju, iaitu once a Muslim dies, faraid dah apply dah ada dah faraid dia. Cuma katakanlah kita membuat perancangan memberi wasiat ni kepada waris, yang itu adalah bergantung kepada persetujuan, consent of the waris, yang mana waris ni kalau dia bersetuju, dia maknanya memilih membuat takharus, iaitu tidak ambil bahagian faraid dia dan memberikan faraid ini kepada orang lain. Ini pemahaman yang ramai orang dia tak pakai. Ramai orang kata boleh buat wasiat kepada waris kalau tak ada kontes. Kalau ada kontes tak boleh. Come back to faraid. Maknanya faraid itu come later. Macam doktor punya pemahaman, faraid come first. Unless otherwise agreed by the S. Itu yang pertama yang saya pegang dia punya filosofi itu. Thank you, doktor. Thank you.
Okay. Terima kasih Zaini. Saya nak sambungkan apa yang you cakap tadi. This is very important because now there's an actual case that come to me. Wasiat adalah hamba Allah. Kawan saya juga. Lawyer pun juga. Tapi mungkin dia pemahaman tentang wasiat ni kurang. Dia buat satu wasiat. Macam orang putih pun wasiat. Dia orang Melayu Islam kita ni. Dia ada dua orang. Two families lah ya. Two families. Divorce from the first wife. And then anak from the first wife, and then anak from the second wife. Anak from the second wife itu still minor, bawah umur. So dia buat satu wasiat dan dia dah pilih dah harta mana yang nak pergi kepada second family dan mana yang nak pergi first family. Okay, dan fikiran dia, okay, dia buat, okay, yang ini nak pergi ini, nak pergi ini. Dan last line dia, selain daripada harta yang ditetapkan dalam wasiat ini, everything else goes to the first family. Right? So that's his wasiat. So the issue now timbul ialah the wasiat tak cukup faraid tu satulah, right? So they are arguing about that because what is the amount? But when it came to me, I said you cannot do something like all the rest. You kena list down everything. And you have to find a valuation for everything. And you have to calculate the value of the faraid ratio, especially to the children, yang minor children, because they cannot waive their rights bahagian dia. Macam mana nak setuju kalau kita tak tahu the total value of the estate and what is the value of the ratio? So it is not a question of following the wasiat. Oh tak apalah, kita ikut kehendak arwah, semua orang setuju. To me that's not the point. So kalau wasiat tu macam tu, second family kata dia setuju, tak apalah yang ni pun cukup dah dia bagi kat kita, kita terima, kita tak nak gaduh. To me that's not the point. I jadi orang yang menyusahkan sekarang because everybody agree on the wasiat. Kerana nak honor the wishes of the arwah. Tapi pada saya, you kena kira juga semua, barulah you tahu berapa nilai harta untuk the nilai faraid, nilai faraid ratio, you boleh kira. The nilai of the faraid ratio. Then you know how much more or less. Then only you can consent. Kalau benda tu lebih, boleh consent. Kalau benda tu kurang, you tak boleh consent. Masalah sekarang ni is people are just fighting over the wasiat. They're missing the last point. Okay? But just to share with you lah. So dalam konteks harta pesaka ni, kalau business for example, oh bagi rumah, bagi apa second family. The business go to first family. Tak boleh juga if there's minor interest. Kalaulah katakan semua cukup umur, to me, it must still be a valuation. Agreed valuation pun tak apa. Then kira what is the value. Tetapi kalau tak nak, tak apalah, reda meredai, tak apalah. Jangan sekali lagi pula timbul berapa nilai dia kemudian. Because you actually must know what is the value of your faraid ratio, and then what is it that you agree and what is it that you waive. What is it that you forgo? Especially yang lelaki itu, kita ambil kurang daripada apa hak kita. So kita reda. Kan? But when everybody kata tak payah kita nak bersetuju, tak nak bergaduh, and everybody just agree like that. To me, it is not ikut hukum.
Mungkin satu hari nanti one fine day kita akan ada satu session untuk orang berpoligami dan mereka-mereka yang ada plan untuk berpoligami. I think not only a joke, tapi it is important. I think penting supaya orang faham. Dan dia punya target audience adalah banyak kepada orang yang ingin berpoligami supaya dia tahu macam mana nak buat. Okay. Mungkin saya boleh seorang daripada panel lah pasal saya bercakap daripada experience.
Ya, tunjuk ajar kursiku.
Ada soalan lagi ke?
Ada ni, Tuan Hazami tanya apa yang perlu dibuat jika sesiapa berminat untuk bertanya lebih lanjut berkenaan buy-sell agreement.
Okay, actually ACS ni, inilah pasal ini di PIM punya function, my people are not directly itu. You can actually book free consultation slots with me. We have half an hour, we book for 10 lah. Then you can ask anything. After that, of course, yalah, dia kata masa kita pun limited dan sebagainya kan. But I'm prepared to share my knowledge in the sense that we go into a consultation and then tengoklah macam mana lah selepas tu. So Hazami is here. Hazami is my CEO. Hazami dengar ke? Maybe you can unmute. Okay, can you explain how they want to know more and all that?
Untuk the next one, we can contact ACS ataupun Aziz Hassan & Co lah for further information.
Ada nombor telefon ke website ke? Saya tulis kat chat.
Dekat slide doktor tadi ada tak?
Slide.
Ujung sekali, last.
The last page lah. Tak ada. So tak apalah for the moment, because Linda is not here, selalunya dia yang itulah, tak ada nombor, tak ada.
Ada tu dah sharing doktor.
Yeah, but there is no contact number here, something that we have to improve on. Itu pun the first one that itu. So apa ni can go to
InsyaAllah nanti siapa yang berminat untuk dapatkan slide, kita akan sharekan feedback form dekat DPIM punya group, dan juga kita punya group lah. Dan siapa yang isi Google Form tu, feedback form, kita akan sharekan slide sekali lah. Dan kat situ pun bolehlah siapa yang nak berurusan terus dengan kita kan, insyaAllah.
Nanti boleh masuk dalam WhatsApp group DPIM tu lah.
Okay, so Azami and Kamil, please attend to that lah. Macam mana?
Ni Puan Gina kata your sharing session today is an eye-opener for me personally. I look forward to attending more of this session. Thank you very much. Sina Ishak, looking forward to attend more of the session in the future. Kemudian Puan ni tadi merujuk kepada cerita doktor tadi. Most people want to hide value because they're afraid that once the value is known, maybe withdrawn. So actually they cannot declare value. Okay, itu saja.
Okay. So kalau tak ada, thank you so much for being a good audience, dan thank you DPIM kerana bagi peluang untuk kita have this collaboration. InsyaAllah we can collaborate on other projects, insyaAllah, wakaf dan sebagainya. Alright, so begitulah I end my speech or my talk, my sharing session. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Over back to you, Puan Liz.
Terima kasih doktor dan semua yang hadir. Siapa-siapa nak unmute pun boleh unmute, wishkan bagi ucapan pada doktor kan. Kemudian kita sudahi majlis kita dengan tasbih kafarah dan surah Wal-As. Semoga ilmu yang kita dapat hari ini bermanfaat dan stay tune lah untuk next month punya topik pula. Kita akan bawakan dalam kita punya WhatsApp group dan website. Terima kasih doktor, terima kasih yang hadir.
Okay, sama-sama. Thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih doktor.
Thank you.